Welcome back, everybody. This is United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and as you can see, I am joined today with a special guest. We are chilling with Dylan. Dylan, how are you? Say hi to everybody.
I'm doing all right. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well.
Yes,
Excited for
everybody.
Wednesday. Also nervous.
Yes, that is my next question. Because we are here. This is it. This is the one. This is the big preview show. And that's my big question: who's nervous? Who's buzzing? Who's confident? Who couldn't be bothered because they don't like Europa League? You're gonna hit. You're gonna get them all. We're
Oh
equal
yeah.
opportunity here. But we are chilling with Dylan today. We are previewing this Europa League match, and not only are we previewing Wednesday's Europa League final against Spurs, we are taking a little trip back down our road to the final. We're looking back at some of the big moments, ups and downs, highs and lows, cardiac events that each of us suffered, and first, talk a little transfer news as well. Maybe do a little trivia, and then of course break down this preview as well. So big show, the Europa League final, biggest match of United's season, really. And quite frankly, a match that could have a big impact on our transfer budget, on our ability to attract players. A lot of revenue coming in from that. But we got to win it first, right? So we still got to get there. Let me see who's jumping in this chat, and then we'll get started here. Kai, big up, Kai. Hope you are doing well, my friend. Danny B, already feeling the anxiety. He's already feeling the anxiety starting to kick in. Yeah, you never know. Like, if it were any other side but Spurs in the Europa League, I'd probably feel 10 times more confident, just the way we've been playing in Europe. But again, it just happened to be a Premier League side who've beaten us already several times, who we struggle against Premier League sides just because we're not very physical. I'm not too excited about that. But yeah, as Danny B says, please do hit that like button on your way in, you guys. So apologies if I seem a little tired, because I am a little tired today, but I'm here. We're doing it. We are talking all things Europa League today, you guys. Big goals, exciting matches. Like I said, all that on the road to the final. So put on your fun to wear, get out your special sock. It is going to be a fun video. Like, please, as Danny says, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Go check out the memberships to learn how you can get involved in the content we put out on the channel, like the scouting reports, the questions from the boots, the episodes of What If. You guys remember season 1 dropped last month. Season 2 dropping once the season ends, so keep a lookout for that, and 4 more episodes coming at you. Those have been fun. Have you watched any of those, Dylan?
I've seen some of the clips. Like I've been seeing some of the shorts come on,
Yeah.
and I see you talk about. I haven't been able to watch all of them yet, but
I'm always
every time I
curious what
see the
people think
topic,
about them.
yeah, every time I see the topics come up, I'm like, oh, that's such a good topic. Oh, that's such a good topic.
This is how my brain works. You just sit around and you're like, that could be a cool t-shirt design. That could be a cool episode of What If. Let's look at some scouting reports and see who I can feature. I probably think and watch and read more about football than really any normal human being should. But that's just how I do. But yes, go check the memberships, all that to say. If you do want to get $5 off any United gear, use that code in the description. You get $5 off when you register at GoGoalShop. And today is the final day for 20% off at the UVE store. Last day, that sale's been going on for a couple days now, but everything is 20% off. That does end today. So if you've been on the fence, if you want to get some cool gear, one-of-a-kind gear, Dylan, are you wearing one? Dylan
I
is
am wearing that hoodie, class of '92 at the Cliff, man.
The Cliff hoodie, yes,
I
that's
love this
fun.
thing. It took a little bit to get, but it fits like a glove, guys. It's
Yeah.
athletic fit. It's warm. Everything you're looking for in a hoodie. So
Seems like most of the stuff I've chosen, because you could choose the products. Most of it is a little more athletic fit. Like, these are a little bit more athletic fit. You guys know the classic, the green and gold. I like a more athletic fit personally, but if anybody does want anything that's a little looser or anything, let me know. If enough people die, I can go ahead and put it on there. It's not that difficult. I just click a button and boom, it's there. But I'm glad that it fits. I'm glad that it turned out, man. There are some new designs on the site today as well, so go check those out, please, if you are interested. But we're going to move on. So we're going to start with some transfer news, and then we're going to get right into the road to the finals. So everybody, again, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's do it to it. So I wasn't planning on doing any transfer news today because it was kind of just focused, but there's been enough big stuff, and I'm sure you guys are all been discussing it, and you guys probably want to share your thoughts. But there were some significant updates, so I figured we could probably talk about them. Starting with the steadily increasing Mateusz Cunha chatter. Dylan, I know Dylan texted me. So what have you been reading today, Dylan?
So, and I stopped class because I saw this report come through. So that's how important this was. I was like, just work on this. I got to read through this. But it looks like from everything that's going on, the talks are progressing, and it's only a matter of time now before Cunha hit comes through. Looks like most things are agreed. It's just going to be, dotting the I's, crossing the T's. That's my favorite thing to say. So, yeah, so it looks like we're going to get another playmaker to match up there. And we've talked about Cunha before. I mean, I think him coming into the team would be highly beneficial, especially for Bruno, somebody that once they get that pairing down, they kind of figure out how each other are going to play. I mean, that's going to be big. So everything I'm hearing, Cunha's coming to United no matter what, even if we don't win Europa. So
that is the talk. We'll see what ends up happening, of course, but that is the talk, and I'm excited about that. Obviously, we got a here we go from Fabrizio Romano earlier. He says it's imminent. He just stated before we went live that personal terms are agreed. Sky's picking up on it too. They say it's going to be announced this weekend after our Aston Villa match. Rudy Galletti has already called it a done deal, and again, the amount being thrown out there is again that £62.5 million with those extra $5 million in add-ons. We did discuss that the other day. I know some people and I myself were initially wondering, okay, if we're paying the release clause, why are there add-ons? Well, most likely because typically teams will ask you to pay the release clause all in at once, but nowadays they're letting you do it in installments, and sometimes it does take a little bit of an extra incentive to get them to agree to that. So I like that. It's probably more. I mean, maybe I'm just used to I'm just gun shy with all the crazy amounts of money we spent over the years. But £62.5 million, is that too much? Are you guys happy with that deal, Dylan? Is that too much, too little? It sounds about right.
Yeah, it sounds about right for him. Cunha's Premier League proven, and he's done well both his time at Wolves. Would we have wanted to get him cheaper? Yeah, but we need somebody to help out in the attack.
Yeah.
And he's like I said, Premier League proven, has that experience. No, he's not an out-and-out striker, but he's definitely going to help give us some creativity. So,
yeah, he's good age. Speaks Portuguese, which I think Amorim will will help him a lot. And he's just one you don't have to. There have been some that we've already have in the squad, such as like a Højlund or Dorgu even, and there's been some players that we've been linked to that are very young, and it's and I've said many times we need a balance. We can't afford to, like Delap even, we can't afford to have to look at these guys as, oh, in a couple of years they're going to be great. Well, they might not be either, but we know some of these guys that we're looking at, including Cunha, they are known quantities. Zero development needed. He plays the system that we play. He plays the position that we need. We have zero rotation, zero depth in those positions, and it ticks a lot of boxes. Now, I had question marks over his attitude this season, just with a lot of the issues that he was having with the guy at the Ipswich Town coach's glasses, and then the headbutt on Kirkej. But you never know. So we've signed volatile guys. We've had a lot of volatile players in the past, Kino, Cantona, all these guys. So even Zlatan had his moments. In the year that he was here.
I did, and as I was reading, they were talking about this. This is another concern. You're talking about some issues on the field. He's gotten some red cards. He's got a little bit of that fire in him, like Bruno does. There's something else to watch out for. So,
the Brazilians, man.
Yeah,
you could go the route of Casemiro that first season. Casemiro missed like 10 or so matches from suspensions. Yep. So it could go either, but it's just one of those things. If it works out, if he stays on the pitch, and then he'll probably, because how many goals and assists he's up there? He's like up in the top 10 in the league, I thought.
And he's got, I think he's close to 20 goals for the season, or he's like 15 to 20 somewhere. So that's like most by a Brazilian striker, I think.
And that's been our biggest issue, I think, this season is just finding the back of the net. I think we're like 5th or 6th worst in the league right now for that. Could be conceded. But it's just not been great. But 62.5. Danny says, I thought we pay 70 million because they paid 50. Yeah, he was one that I would have I definitely would have wanted him when he was still at Atletico, but he would have been cheaper. But again, it is what it is. This is where we are now. So Danny says if we got Gyökeres, Cherki in as well, I would be impressed. Yeah, if we got Gyökeres and Cherki in on top of Cunha, then you got to take a look at Ineos and say, well, you had my attention. Now you've got my respect here, guys. Let's see. And that number 10 shirt is vacant, just saying. So that's what he wears at Wolves. Danny says, I remember Cunha at RB and Berlin, and we were linked with him probably every window since. Yeah, he kind of went down that Gaetan Schneider kind of route, which seemed like one of those names he was always getting tossed out there every single summer. But sounds like we finally get our man. Better late than never. But you guys let me know. Are you happy with Cunha? Or is that too much? I put a poll out earlier asking people, are you buzzing about the Cunha news? 80% of you say yes. 20% say no. Who's the 20%? I want names. Let me know.
Yeah. Whoa. I would think everybody would be excited about that.
I mean, some people. I mean, everyone's got their preferences, but I'm gonna close that poll now. But I appreciate everybody getting involved. Any final thoughts on Cunha before we move on to the next bit of news there?
No, I think it's going to be a good pickup. I am interested to see. I was watching a video on Sky that said just one of their quick updates. How you doing, Sanjay?
Big up, Sanjay.
But that said he's going to join immediately after the season.
Yeah.
So does that mean he's moving right to Manchester? Then going to start training, or?
I hope so.
I'd love that.
Anybody we get, this has been a problem for us for years. Is too many late window signings.
Yes.
Especially like late in the window is one thing, especially when it's like a World Cup year. Like it's not always easy, but I think that's just, you have to be better in the transfer market. Now, under the old regime, I always looked at that as they want to save money on wages. They want to not have to spend a month's worth of wages, so we'll wait. Then it crosses the line, though, when you're like, oh, we're in mid-August. Season's already started. Now we're going to get Casemiro and we're going to get all these. I'm like, you can't do that because you can't do that because there's a reason Casemiro, people complain, why is McTominay starting? Because Casemiro didn't have preseason with Ten Hag. He has to come in. He has to get used to the system. It just doesn't happen right away. So we have to get our signings done. Not only that, they need to go on preseason tour and get time with their teammates.
Yep.
So I would like to get 3 good main signings in before this preseason really starts kicking off because we've got games like right away.
Oh yeah.
We got to fly to the freaking BFE to play some more bullshit $8 million pound purse friendlies, and I'm like, whatever. But are you gonna go see any of these tours in the US when they're here? No. Yeah. I mean, people balk at the ticket prices that Ineos have been like. You ain't seen nothing until you've tried to go to American sports game.
Yeah.
I don't care. It could be the worst team in baseball and it's still going to cost you like $50 minimum.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I know some people do make a trip. I've gone to like when they were at Ann Arbor and stuff. Did that because it's like 15, 20 minutes down the road for me. But so, all right, let's see what we got here. Danny coming in with a big chat here. I think another reason Ashworth probably sacked because of the Xerxes deal. We were heavily linked with Cunha end of last May when Ashworth came in. We cheaped out and went for Xerxes. Well, yeah, I think if you had to look at like Højlund and Xerxes leaving, I think the one who'd probably end up, if we got rid of one, it would probably be Højlund because he's been here a full year longer. And Xerxes was kind of an Ineos signing. But if Danny's right and that was kind of a clash and Ashworth kind of had something to do with that, then maybe Xerxes is not as safe as we think. But Xerxes is an interesting one. He's one of those ones who took a little time to bet in, huh?
That's how I feel. Like, yeah, it took him a while to get going, but when he was there, he linked up play really well.
When I've said before, he's like, he reminds, he's like a McTominay made of silk. Like he plays the same position. He looks good on the run, but and McTominay was actually pretty good holding onto the ball on a full run, but Xerxes just got a little extra of the silk to the touch. Like some of his nutmegs, I mean, the guy, like, that's his favorite spice. Like, it's just insane. Danny says, along with him backing Ten Hag and saying Amorim wasn't the right profile. So Danny woke up and chose violence against Ashworth today, just going hard. I think Erasmus needs to be loaned out with an obligation to buy. I mean, you guys know I'm officially Højlund out. After Chelsea match, and
can I go on my little soapbox here? Like, because I was watching that match,
Have at it.
and I'm like, all right, Rasmus is starting out real. Like he did looked all right at the beginning. I'm like, he's putting a shift in. He's like, he's doing all right. And then I don't know what happened, but he shit the bed. Like, I mean, he had a couple of passes. I looked at it. I literally said, what the fuck? Like he looked like a kid that had never played the game. I could have made some of those passes, and I am not a soccer player, or a football player. Like I'm just like, what are you doing, dude? And I'm like, I really want him to do well, but he is making it very hard. Like those were just they was boneheaded moves. There was this one sequence. I don't know if he like held on the ball and then like tried to pass it, and it was the weakest pass I've ever seen. And Chelsea just ran right away with it. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
He was looking right at, I forget who it was, he was looking right at him and couldn't get it to him. Like, wow.
That's a lack of confidence, and that's been he just hasn't been able to get over that. He's got like analysis paralysis in these moments where he's second, third, fourth guessing every little thing. He's trying to go through every possible scenario and that's part of that's going to be confidence. Part of that is going to be youth because he hasn't had the experience to build up the muscle memory, the second nature, just the instinct that comes with time. But at the same time, just it's like as the season went on, it's just more and more just the basic stuff he just seemed to be getting worse and worse at. And I'm like, it's been 2 years, bro. And I've backed Rasmus like to the hilt. And I'm just like, I can't. It got to be like it feels very similar to Ten Hag. Like I backed Ten Hag, I added all this context, and then eventually I'm just like, I can't defend you anymore, bro. It just eventually it just is what it is. So Danny probably wouldn't personally start Rasmus 50-50 on it. Yeah, it's interesting. He did play like the whole match, and then and I asked the question the other day, like I almost felt like was he, because his body language just turned to shit. Like was he told he wasn't starting? Like we're going to go through starting 11s a little later on, so be sure to come back with that thoughts. But I've got thoughts. I know Dylan's got thoughts. I've seen Dylan's 11, and it's very similar to how I was thinking. But it's going to be interesting. So, Box, big up, Box. Good to see you, my friend. Box says false 9 in the final. We're going to get there. We have not even gone through the transfer news. We've only got a couple things to go over, but you guys know I love having chats about it. Plus, anytime you can get Christian Eriksen away from training to come join us, you got to take advantage of it. But I'm
going to be a player coach at Ajax.
Oh man, is that where he's going? I said a long time ago I could see him going back there.
Dude, I could see it too, man. I don't know. I have no idea. I do think he's going to end back up there, though.
Yeah,
I get the feeling with the summer transfer window that's just where it's going to go.
Where was he at before Ajax? Was he playing in Belgium, or like Norway or something? I could see him going back to like do player coaching and like maybe doing like something like an Anderlecht or something, or maybe Ajax.
He was at Anderlecht, I think. I think that's where he was at.
Yeah, could see that. Danny thinks I could be onto something. I like when people say that. I talk a lot, and there's a little bit of a delay of when I say something and when it pops up on my screen over here when you guys put a chat in. So I'm just gonna take the win there. I don't know what I said, but it's sometimes just in this stream of conscious rambling, if I stumble upon some sort of nugget of like knowledge, then I'm gonna take that as the win. So Box says Eriksen winner in the final. I don't know. You let us know, man. Are you feeling up for it?
Hey, I am up for it. I'll put a screamer in past the wall. So,
dude, any winner in the final, if we win, if there's gonna be a Sean-shaped hole in Billy's front door, because I'm not even gonna bother with the handle next time. The handle was the child-proof lock was engaged on his screen door, and I couldn't get it open. So,
that was hilarious.
If it happens again, just literally Sean-shaped hole in the door. Just I don't care. I'll buy him a new one. I write him a check. I don't care. Danny says I might be onto something about Rasmus knowing he's not starting in the final. His body language just looked a little like pouty, right?
Putting that out there, yeah, I could totally see that.
I mean, put on my tinfoil hat, but I'm just like, that's the body language of someone who's either just been told like, this is an important game, don't worry about it, or you've been told like you're not playing in the final. Now, the reason I lean more towards the latter is because he played like the whole match.
Yeah.
And I would have thought maybe Amorim would have taken him off a little bit, seeing as how he's our only striker. So part of me wonders, is Amorim going to be going with maybe a little shaken up starting 11? But we're going to see. So moving on to the next transfer rumor. Does anybody have any final thoughts before we keep going, Danny, or anybody? Dylan, you good?
Nope, I'm
All
good.
right.
I
So we
got my
also got
rant.
there you go. Hey, no, soapbox. That's what it's there for, man. We're also linked to a new midfielder today. Now, this is a name that I like personally. I like this guy a
Mhm.
lot. But this is coming from Matteo Moretto, the guy who's constantly chatting with Fabrizio and anything. So, and then Matteo Moretto has had this to say. He claims United are monitoring David Fratessi's situation. Now, David Fratesi joined Inter, I believe, from Sassuolo a couple of years ago, almost 2 years ago. Moretto says there's a big chance he leaves Inter this summer. United made a call in recent weeks to inquire about him. So he's a good age, good midfielder. He'll be 26 in the fall, so he's kind of like that Ederson, Cunha age, and more experience, more leadership. Um, I like that a lot. I said I would like some of that experience in the squad too. Apparently, Napoli, Atletico Madrid, and Roma are all interested in what as well. It's very hard to get Italians out of the Italian league.
Mhm.
I don't see it happen too often. Tonali and then like Darmian, I think before that were probably the last two I can remember off the top of my head. Um, but you have any thoughts on Fratesi?
I actually don't know, and Danny B's got a good point here as we say hi to Lionheart. Danny B's got a good point. He says, I have only seen him play once or twice. What kind of player is he? I really don't know. I've heard the name. I know
Yeah.
there's a player there, but I don't really know much about him.
So Inter play a 3-5-2 right under Inzaghi, and when Fratesi plays, he plays as like one of the eights basically. So he's not that
Okay.
deepest midfielder. He's basically like this box to box kind of similar to like how Barella plays or something for Inter. So he plays that
Okay.
same kind of role, which is what you kind of want in this amorim system. Well, because there's not, it's just two midfielders, so the midfielders have to be able to play kind of
Mm-hmm.
old school 90s 4-4-2 midfielders. You got to be basically box to box. You have to have stamina. You have to be technical on the ball. You have to be physical as well. And Fratesi ticks a lot of boxes. So I looked up his percentages earlier. Let me put him back here on my screen so I can see here. So he's only on about 100,000 euro a week, so it's not expensive, which is good. But in terms of goals and like shots and everything, he's in literally the top 1%. He's really good at carrying the ball, top 25% for midfielders when it comes to progressive carries. So he's able to take that ball and move it up the pitch. And he gets the ball in a lot of really good advanced positions, really good link up between kind of the deeper part of midfield and then that final third. So he's in the top 5 for
Mm-hmm.
touches in the opposition box, and he's in the top 20 for progressive passes received. I like to see some of his defensive numbers improve a little bit. He's not going to have a choice in the Premier League; he's going to have to. But um,
Yeah.
I haven't seen much of him since he joined Inter because Inter do have quite a few midfielders, so it's always a bit of competition there. But he is older. He probably is going to want some assurances at this age, and if not, he's probably going to look to jump ship. So, um,
Yep.
but yeah, Danny says we do need a good ball carrier. We do need people that because that's been one of our biggest struggles this year is okay. We were able to play the ball out and we get it to our midfield, but then from there it's just no one can do anything with it. Kabi's probably one of the better ones I've seen in that situation, but
Mm-hmm.
he's a little slow, and he's been injured and whatnot. But I think Kabi lacks that physicality at this stage because he's younger as
Yeah.
well.
Yep.
So if Fortesti can turn and operate kind of like a João Neves, where he can drop deep and pick the ball and then progress it, I think if he can do that, that would be great. But again, just rumors. I don't write them; I just read them. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, but it's good to see some new faces. I mean, I'm like we're hearing the Ederson talk and things. There's a little bit of Yashari links a couple weeks back, which I don't mind. You guys know I'm a big Yashari fan, um, so I don't watch as much Italian football as I used to back when all the players that are good now, like Tonali and stuff, back when they were at their older clubs, like when Tonali was at Brescia or when Fratesi was at Sassuolo, I think like I would watch more Italian football. It's the same with the Dutch league. I think I watched a lot of the players now when they were still there, and now that they're gone, I'm watching them now. So, um, but yes, we do need a good ball carrier. Are there any midfielders you'd like to see us look at, Dylan?
I'd like to see it. What I've seen from Ederson makes me be hopeful we at least try to go after him. I don't know if that's going to happen. I think another team is going to poach him.
Yeah.
And ironically, I watched a man you've talked about a lot, or a boy you've talked about a lot because he's only 17. Mastan Tuano, I don't quite know how to say his last name.
Yeah. No, you did good.
I watched him because the River Plate was on. I don't remember why they were on, but I watched. He looks good, just
Yeah.
as a 17-year-old. I'd like to see a move materialize for him if that could happen.
Yeah, his release clause keeps going up. I think it's up to like 40 million now, but he's just something happened in the off season for him, and he just went up. He like skipped ahead like 3 grades. The dude is like, his numbers this season are already like double what he was doing last year. He's really having a good breakout season. I would love to see us. We talked yesterday in that news show, guys. We got those reports that we had actually kind of initiated talks. Rumor is obviously we've been interested. Obviously, Madrid want him to, with that whole Rodrigo situation, and be interesting to see what happens. We got reports the other week that Rodrigo wants to play on the left. Rodrigo has also said there's no issues, so we'll see. I think if Madrid offload Rodrigo, they could probably get a lot of money for him. They pick up Mastan Tuano for less than half of that, and they still have some cash to throw around. I think that would be, Madrid are going hard. They've already signed Dean House, and they've already got Trent. They're already looking like they're going to wrap up. Who else are they looking at? I forget the other defender now. Somebody will remind me that Alvaro.
Yep.
Which some United fans are probably not too happy about, but
me. I wanted the buyback clause.
Yeah,
Exercise it.
He's got to want to come. I mean, but it
exactly.
is what it is. I think the bridges is burned, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Danby says, I'm surprised Vavell is not working on Stiller. I'm sure Vavell's got his feelers out there. I'm sure there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than we think. Obviously, we are looking at some midfielders, it seems. So I think that is a priority position for us. So
as it should be.
See. The position I worry about that we haven't really seen a ton of links to that I still do think we need to strengthen is center back. I wonder if they think that Heaven, Kokonki, and Maguire, De Ligt, Yoro, maybe that is enough. I don't know, but I would like to see a left footer who's maybe a little older as well. But
yeah, a little more experience is always nice. So
I just can't trust Licha anymore to be fit.
No.
He's dancing in Shaw and Mount territory now. So
if he gets hurt again next year, that kind of seals it.
And that's not, and I wouldn't necessarily say like, oh, he's just a busted flush. I'd be like, I think that initial injury just ruined it, because it affects everything else. And this isn't like you and me tearing our ACL. Like these guys, this is that their whole livelihood is legs and pushing their legs and their bodies to the absolute physical limit. We tear our ACL, we're not going to run a whole lot of risk of doing a whole lot to it. But these guys, you tear something, you break something in your foot. A bad tackle. I mean, we saw Yoro miss a big chunk of the initial season. It was just a random bad tackle, and just like I just randomly twisted my ankle, and it's 3 months not doing anything. Like it happens sometimes. So, Danny says, I heard he has 33 or 35 million release clause. I think Madrid gets him. Yeah. I think he wants to go to Madrid is the word. I don't. They have to sell Rodrigo though, because he's not playing if he goes there, and he's going to go right down the Guler route, the Brahim route, the Odegaard route when they bought Odegaard when he was like 15, 16. Like he'll never play. So Danny says he doesn't think we land him, unfortunately. We will see. It's all about what positions we're prioritizing and who we're looking at. I mean, we could be not really looking at a player that a lot of us want, but that doesn't mean we're not looking at a player in that position. So got to back them. It's just like Ruben. You got to trust that Ineos do it and let the chips fall where they fall, and then see if they got it right or not. Only proof of the pudding's in the eating, right?
Mm-hmm.
Box says Madrid are activating the buyback clause on Nico Paz. That was one. You guys, I did that. He was part of that scouting report video I did a couple weeks ago. I do like Nico Paz a lot. So Madrid are just stockpiling number 10s, apparently, is what you guys are saying. They got Bellingham, Brahim, Guler. I always feel like they have one more that I always forget about in there, but yikes. Do you so you watch Mastan Tuano a little bit. I think they play on like Paramount sometimes, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ironic, I was down in Cincinnati. They were on BN Sports that was part of the hotel channel.
Oh yeah. So gotcha.
They just had South American football. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I used to watch a lot of Boca and whatnot. when they were on Paramount.
Ironically, I forgot about this. Guess who was playing? I forget which team he was on. Memphis
I don't. Oh yeah, he plays for is it Flamingo? Oh, it's Corinthians now, I believe.
Corinthians. Yeah, I didn't even
Yeah,
know
yeah.
I thought he was still in the Dutch league somewhere.
Nah, yeah, he plays down there. Yep.
Yeah, so I learned something new.
Yeah, no, he's doing pretty well this season so
Mm-hmm.
far. Composed View, welcome back. Says I go get Ignacio from Sporting. Yeah, supposedly he's not too expensive. He would be a really good pickup for that left hand side. Wouldn't have to worry about him. Danny's just going hard on targets here. Yashari, Stiller, Statch, Hackney, any of them would be like Wharton too, but he costs. Honestly, pay the money for Wharton. That dude is absolute. He's going to be a baller. Honestly, you wait another year, you're going to be paying another 50% of what he's worth if you wait. Like just like Declan Rice, sometimes you just got to get it done. And I've seen enough of Wharton to say that dude's class. Now, my director of football hat on, you could get like 3 players for the same price as a Wharton, and so part of me is like, but at the same time, go get him. Danny wants to know, do I think Arda Güler moves on from Madrid? Just depends on what's going on this summer behind the scenes. So you got to remember, Xabi Alonso's coming in, plays a completely different system. So the question is there a spot in that system for Arda Güler? Now he plays a 3-5-2. Does Güler fit in a 3-5-2? You think maybe in that wide role, but it just depends on what job. I don't watch a lot of Xabi Alonso's Leverkusen, so I don't know like if like Amorim in those wingbacks, does he prefer someone who's a little bit more of a fullback, or does he prefer someone who's just all out attacking? Maybe Güler could learn how to play as an 8, right? But it's just a question mark over that. Where did Florian Wirtz play when he was there? Because they're basically very similar. But Box thinks Güler would be staying. Madrid need to sell, right? They've got to build their whole defense. I think they're looking at a lot of free players. So either they have no money or they're really trying to prioritize their money for somebody else. But I think Mbappe really hurt them as well. Danny watches it on BN as well. Oh, Box says perhaps Brahim or Ceballos. I forget they have Ceballos still there. Brahim probably is the one that's going to go because he's 20, 24, 25, I imagine. He still plays enough, but I can't believe Modric is still there, just kicking around. The guy's my age. It's insane.
He's a wonder. I watched some of the Real when he was out there a few matches ago. Whenever they were playing, how is he still doing this? I feel tired watching him.
Like I don't know how to assess that. What does that say more about him or more about the other players in the squad that he's literally still there and getting minutes when like I don't the guys like if I like maybe it's just a generational thing, but maybe if I'd been born 10 years earlier my answer would be different. But if I'm making an all-time starting 11 right now, he's probably like first on my list, Luka Modric, because that dude just runs the entire midfield.
Oh yeah.
He can drop deep, he can get involved in the final third, he can get wide to get involved in triangles. There's nothing he can't do. Raja, big up, man. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah.
Usman, good to see you again. How are you doing, Usman? Hope the family's doing well, man. Raja said, want Nico Paz. I like Nico Paz. I think he fits a lot. I mean, you guys know I do a lot of scouting reports and a lot of these players I really like. So Raja says, and you like 39-year-old Luki. I am 39 years old, man. Be 40 in a couple months, and then my body would probably just start breaking down even for when I hit 30. Like I used to play every week for like 2 or 3 hours, and the moment I hit 30, it was like groin injury, it was IT band, it was all this. I noticed it took me a little longer. I couldn't play every single week. Sometimes it was
wake up, your back hurts for some reason.
Yeah,
yep.
That's what I tell people. Like I know how old. Like I'm the age where when I sleep really, really well, I know that I'm going to be like Batman in that first movie. I'm just not going to be able to like turn my neck. I'm just going to be doing this. Like Usman getting big. He's getting gassed up, man. Hopefully we win on Wednesday. Hopefully we do. And we win on Wednesday. I'm going to be an absolute savage on this channel. I'll be on Fraud Watch on Pasta Coglu. I want him gone.
I already told the kids I'm not coming in Thursday if we win. So.
Oh, don't you should just take the day off, whether it's for good or bad. Just take the day off, or just get a substitute, roll in the cart. Planet Earth season 1, they're good to go.
Oh yeah, they'll sleep through it anyway. They're doing it now, so
yeah. Oh, Raja said if Man United lose final, we'll be annoyed. Annoyed is a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, I might throw something. So
If we lose the final, I might just sit up in my room in the dark until I come out a month later looking like Mark Ogden. Creepy bastard. We were joking about Mark Ogden before we went live. That's why I said it. Raja says Fede Valverde is a tank. Fede Valverde is one of the best midfielders right now in the world.
Mhm.
Struggling a bit because he's having to play center back, but he's an absolute boss. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the Europa League. All right. So, Megan, make sure you guys are hitting that like button. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel if you are new. So, we nearly missed out on Europa League football altogether. That's just the way it was. Last year, we were kind of in the same situation we are now, where it was literally eighth place and FA Cup final or nothing, right? That's where we were. And it was literally, we had to win that final or we weren't playing in Europe at all. We were missing out on stuff. And I obviously couldn't watch that final live. I had a personal thing going on, but I did watch it after the fact. Wasn't as exciting as the quarterfinal against Liverpool, but it definitely was a better performance, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
But it was that big win over City in that final that saw us get Europa League football this year. Notice, though, nobody complained about that last year that we were eighth and we got to go to the Europa League for winning the FA Cup final. It's a big deal now, though, when it's United and Spurs. But any thoughts on that final, Dylan? Because that was a big deal.
That was great. I watched that final a lot. Just watched the clips.
Yeah.
A lot because Garnacho gets that first goal off a mistake, really, which is awesome.
I mean,
the fact that he had that killer instinct to go after it.
but here's the thing: is it a mistake? Because Guardiola's done that. Like I've literally can count almost half a dozen times that he's done that this year. I just saw him do it the other day. Forget who city we're playing. Like this long ball over the top, Guardiola just can't handle it. He's got to be one of the worst defenders I've ever seen when it comes to that.
And it's weird because they talk about him like he's this saint of defenders, and like he makes a lot of the mistakes.
Yeah, he makes those. Defending wise, he's awful. He'll pop up with a goal now and then all is forgotten. But I'm like, 100 million for a guy who literally cost you guys the FA Cup final and has conceded goals like that many, many times is not okay. But this was also the first season that we saw the new league phase format of both Champions League and Europa League. So it replaced the group stage, added a couple more fixtures because we know that UEFA likes that cheddar cheese. And then this time you only get to play everybody once. So it's no longer home and away, this leg, that leg. You get 8 opponents or 7 opponents, and then boom, that's it. Top 8 automatically qualify, which we did right by finishing third in the league phase. It was a little sketchy for a second there. We were struggling in those early on, those couple of draws, right?
Those first 3 matches. Okay. Again, I'm going on a soapbox.
Do it.
Vente come in. I'm sitting there like, okay, we got this. Like we can do this. I think we were 1 goal up for longest period of time.
Yeah, you scored, right, to open the match.
I scored. I did great. And I'm sitting there. We just need one more. We just need one more. And it's like they just forgot like that this was an important match.
Yeah.
Like they just settled in, and then boom, Vente get that goal, and I'm like,
yeah,
this is what we do all the time. And it's been a pattern the whole season. I'm like, that kind of set the whole stage because as soon as they get a goal, they get relaxed. They get, we're fine. And like that frustrated me. And that was part of the point. It was like as Ten Hag's tenure went down, it was like, dude, they're not listening. They're tuning stuff out.
Yeah.
Like you're telling them to lock in and they're not. So.
And it was for that stage of the season, it was such a typical goal for us to concede. We conceded that exact same goal a handful of times. Spurs, like Van de Ven against Spurs early in the season, did pretty much the exact same thing. And I remember that 20 match. Eriksson had the ball pretty much between our box and the midfield, turned to like try to pass it backwards, and it was just a horrible pass, and it was just pounced upon, and it was just it's just over and over again. We've done that, and that's why we lack legs in midfield. We lack physicality, sloppy touches, and it's just 3 draws to start the Europa League campaign. Was not a smooth road to start that off. It was really rough, and it really wasn't until after Ten Hag was sacked and Ruud took over that we got our first win in Europe. And remember, that was a 2-0 victory over PAOK, P-A-O-K, thanks to a brace from this guy over here. That looks remarkably familiar. Is there a shirt on United vs. Everybody's store website that might look just like that? You might have to go check it out to see. You could get 20% off of it right now.
Exactly.
Yes, Amai got a brace that match.
That was awesome. Wasn't that the start of where he was like goal scoring left and right for us?
Yeah, you remember he was so frustrated before because he wasn't getting minutes. We saw him on the touchline just looking like Anthony last season, trying to come on, just looking like a pouty little baby. And so he did come in. He kind of just really got us back into winning ways in Europe for the first time this season, which we all love. And then Amorim stepped in and really kept that up, right, with a string of wins in Europe. You guys remember all that junk, which we were like, cool, we're flying high, we're looking good. Ruud's got us winning. We beat Leicester like 8 times this season. Ruud's got us winning. Then I kind of had a little moment of worry when we drew Real Sociedad in the round of 16.
Every time we draw a Spanish side in Europe, I'm always like, oh God. And I think what it really is those Deportivo La Coruña matches where I would walk in and I'd see those scores and we're gonna be fine, and we'd lose, and I'm like, I don't know what to think.
Yeah,
and that's 25 years ago.
Yeah, we tend to struggle against Spanish sides. I have nightmares about, not nightmares, but like I remember playing Sociedad in the Champions League a few years back in the group stage and just stupid goals. Usman, we're going to come back to that question a little later on, so keep that in mind. Don't let me forget, man. Danny says too many cutback goals. We conceded a cutback goal? What? No. Never happened. That's pretty much why we're not in Champions League anymore. Last year, we didn't get out of the group stage. Just simple. We conceded a goal like that just the other day against West Ham as well. Just too many people ball watching, too many people switching off. We conceded a goal similar to that against Spurs early in the season, except it was like just a simple back post goal that I think Brendan Johnson put in. But let's see what everyone's saying. Composed View says, I think Ten Hag lost the dressing room with decisions against Ronaldo, Sancho, etc., but seemed partial towards Antony and Rashford that made him seem unprincipled. Not saying anything new. I mean, you're not saying anything new. The Ronaldo situation, I go back and forth on because and maybe you have a different opinion too. So I see it both sides, right? I see parallels to Cantona, where maybe there were a different set of rules for some players because of who you are. Because Cantona had a different set of rules, but because Cantona was also expected to be a leader, though. And so that's where I think Ronaldo sort of differs. But people will forget that Ronaldo did not have a preseason with Ten Hag because he was obviously for personal reasons, but he did not have a preseason. And I was just watching Rio's podcast earlier, and he and his brother both said, you don't understand how important the preseason is. If a player didn't have a preseason, like they weren't going to be playing right away. And that's literally the exact same situation that happened with Ronaldo. It's what happened with Casemiro. And so I see both sides, especially your brand new manager. It's not a great first impression to make. So I see everything, and it is what it is. It is done and dusted. But I do think Ten Hag, I think the players did start to kind of lose faith. And what are your thoughts on what Composed View had to say, Dylan?
Oh, yeah, I agree. The Ronaldo thing, on the one hand, I can totally see what he was saying. We can see that standards have slipped compared to where they were. But on the other hand, I mean, that leadership quality is important. And while he does set an example in training about showing up and doing the right things and stuff like that, there's more to that than his leadership, or there's more to that in leadership. And he didn't necessarily totally put all his best foot forward.
Yeah.
We know about Sancho. We don't have to go through. I also agree with Antony. Not that Antony didn't have his moments. He would put shifts in, but he just, I don't know what it was about that system. He just wouldn't like.
Yeah, I think the physicality just caught him off guard, and he wasn't quite prepared. He was like, "Oh wait, I can't just dribble through 3 defenders at once like I can at Ajax."
Or like he's doing at Betis, like he's found his level, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So
it's just not going to happen. Antony, I get a little bit because his manager is always going to, if they want to sign a player because they want that player, they want to play with them. It makes sense why he persists with Antony. It's his signing, his target now. the price, it is what it is. It's not on Ten Hag. That's not on Anthony. That's on the people in charge. But that's one of the criticisms I've had of Ten Hag. His talent identification is a little lacking when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like Malacia, I never really thought was good enough. Licha is good when he's fit, but there's nothing you can do about the fitness. Mason Mount obviously was a big question mark because Ten Hag wanted him when he was at Ajax still. So. So the talent identification there from Ten Hag is just not great. But I do hear your point there, Composed. He says those decisions were necessary. However, you can't keep playing Rashford and Antony when they were contributing. Should have played others or even youth players. Yeah, I mean, to his credit, Ten Hag did bring through Garnacho and Mainu. And so I do think he kind of picked one youth player each season and kind of chose them. And he's the one who gave Collier a start as well. So granted, Collier is not like a youth player. He was like 20 at the time, but
I keep forgetting he's older.
Yeah, he's like 21, 22. I don't see Collier staying here much longer, though, if he can't get over these injuries. Raja says, how will backing him fix that, conceding cutback goals? Well, that's a player issue. That's a mentality. That's a focus issue. That's just the players have to be switched on. And we know the mentality is an issue in this squad. Composeview says, and I like that Amorim got rid of Rashford and anyone else that would undermine him despite losing a lot of games. I respect that decision. Yeah, but then people question him about Sancho and Ronaldo. So again, that's where I start to push back against some opinions because it can't be, well, I don't understand why he did this with Sancho, but like I back him when he did it with Rashford, like literal the same situation. So, and literally Rashford did the same thing Ronaldo did. He went to a journalist and did an interview unsanctioned and basically just threw out some bombs and stuff. So again, these players, they don't help themselves. They don't help their clubs. They don't help their managers by doing these things. And I think that they forget that sometimes. They focus too much on themselves. And I get it. This is your livelihood, but it annoys me. Maybe I'm just old. Box thinks we've gotten better against Spanish sides in the last few years. Knocked out Sociedad of Bilbao, knocked out Barca and Betis, knocked out Sociedad and Granada. Yeah, we're better now. I think that, again, so getting back, we got them in the round of 16. We did not do well against them a couple years prior, right? But we have been getting better against Spanish sides. And I think this is a football thing in general. I was just thinking about this the other day, and maybe I'll get your thoughts on this too. I think we've turned a corner where the technical sides were the better sides, and now we're seeing that the physical sides, and I don't just mean the bigger, the stronger. I mean the energetic, the stamina, the fight, the running, the putting in the grit. Those sides are the ones that are doing bits right now. Whether you look at the Premier League right now, look at like the top 7 positions and the teams that are in there. Your Newcastles, your Forest, these guys are the physical sides. The technical sides, like the cities, struggling. The technical side, like we do have technical players. We struggle because we don't have the physicality to back it up. And I think football in general, and you see this in Champions League and stuff all the time. It goes in cycles. Spanish sides will dominate for a couple of years, and then it's like the German sides, and then it's like
Italian
sides and stuff. And so that's why the English sides are doing so well these last couple of years because they're so much more physical.
Yep.
That's just my opinion. Where do you have any? You agree? Disagree?
I can see the physicality has definitely come back into the game.
Yeah.
And with the Italian clubs generally have been the thought process is the narrative has been they've been weaker in the last few seasons because they've been more technical, more a little more flair.
Yeah, Italy didn't even qualify a couple of years ago for a European tournament.
Yeah, and we've seen England make Euro finals twice. We've seen those
Euro
very
finals?
physical sides.
English sides, how many UEFA finalists have been all English finalists in the last couple of years?
Exactly. So I think that's true, and I think we're still seeing some evolution of that physicality too. I think we're getting a little more technical physicality coming along now. So I'm not quite sure how to describe it, but you can kind of see it, like with how people are positioning themselves, where some of the placement of their bodies is going to be. It's not as run and gun. So
it's football is definitely shifting. I think that we need to, again, we've been behind for so many years. We really need to take a look at that and get out ahead of it. But against Sociedad, we ran out 5-1 winners on aggregate, which led us to Lyon. obviously probably the most exciting tie of this campaign for me so far. I don't know how you feel, but Lyon was an absolute madness. And what a quarterfinal that was. I mean, the first leg was a bit of a disappointment, right? Ending it was 2-2, I think, on the road, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to, I think you and I watching that at Sean O's, and we just yeah. Late stoppage time winner from Chirke, thanks to also, I think, to a massive error from Onana. I think during that leg really showed me a lot of the flaws. The biggest flaws in a couple of our players were really on show, i.e. Onana, some of our switching off in defense. I thought Onana was at fault for both goals. I'm not saying they were all his fault, but he was majorly at fault. But again, this equalizer right here in this photo, that comes from a typical Onana error. Shot comes in, I don't catch it, I don't palm it to the side, I palm it right back in front of me, and who's right there ready for it? Rayan Cherki. None of our defenders were alert to that rebound, so we're all just, and we've done that many times. We did that, I think, against Leicester. We've done that against Palace. We've done that against Brighton when I was literally there at that match watching it happen against Brighton. Same exact situation. He's done that, and this is why I'm not going to go on a soapbox about Onana. You guys know my I already spoke my truth on that. So the first leg, obviously, if you can get a draw on the road in Europe, it's not a bad result, but I think the performance was very, very frustrating for me. How you and I were watching that? How were you feeling when we were watching that?
Up until the end, I thought we did well. It wasn't I mean, we controlled certain portions of the match, which was good. And one more thing to add in here. Big up to Gary for just joining the channel. He just said he just found it in the chat. So Gary, welcome. Just wanted to throw it in there.
Bam, bam, bam. Big up, Gary.
Gary. But yeah, I thought in comparison to how we had been, what I expected to happen, I honestly expected us to lose that first match. The fact that we were 2-1 up going almost to the end there was gratifying. But in the same time, I almost think that motivated us a little bit. We didn't necessarily come out the best on the second leg, but it worked, and we were a little more motivated, I think so.
That's that second leg though. That might have been the highest my heart rate has ever been. I'm not like just as in the season, like ever in my life. That might have been the hardest. Like, and I've done like zip lines over waterfalls and stuff, and that might have been the highest my heart rate has ever been. 2-0 up in the first half, that second leg at home at Old Trafford. And then we leak 4 stupid goals to basically tie things up on aggregate, right?
Oh yeah.
Sends us into extra time, which I'm not gonna lie, I was not ready for extra time. I don't have a heart healthy enough diet. I don't eat enough whole grains. I'm not in a good place physically to handle that extra time.
I turned the game off. I was so mad. I couldn't watch. I think I saw one, or no, I turned it off, and then I saw they let a goal, and I'm like, I'm done. And then somebody texted me and was like, "Are you watching this match?" I'm like, "No, they're losing." He's like, "No, dude." So I had to watch after the fact.
And then it got even worse, right? Because we conceded 2 more goals in extra time. And honestly, it looked like this thing was just done. I was like done. I was fuming. I was like, this tie's over. We're done. We're not getting Champions League football. Then penalty. And Bruno puts it away. And then you can't help but ask in that moment, could we? Could this happen? Old Trafford.
Theater of dreams.
You can't help but ask when he puts that pen away. And then Mainu, literal 120 minute, and all of a sudden, it's on, right?
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden, it's all tied up. And then we're like, all right, we're going to pens. And that I don't trust us in pens. I don't think we're that great in pens, especially in Europe. And then I'm thinking, I'm preparing for pens. I'm like, all right, here we go. Let me get my power stance. Let me get a good, and then old Slabbit himself.
Ari, you beauty.
You're a wizard, Ari. Old Slabbit himself with an extra time, stoppage time header. Beautiful ball from Casemiro. Casemiro, I think, doesn't get credit for the ball to that back post. It was perfectly weighted. It was right where it needed to be. Casemiro, he's been a different animal altogether this season, but finds Maguire at the back post, and he heads it across far post. And that's exactly where
yeah.
you want to put those headers. You want to put them back across the box, back across the post. Maguire gets on the end of it, puts it in, and it's fucking limbs at Old Trafford. Like, absolute freaking limbs at Old Trafford. This is probably one of my favorite photos from the season. Just Maguire.
Oh,
I mean, is there a more majestic knee slide than Harry
no.
Maguire? I mean, this right here, this is one of those moments that you try to explain to non-football fans, and it's like no matter how hard you try, how many big words you use, how many sock puppets, how many PowerPoint presentations you whip out, they just don't get it. Like you never be able to explain it. Just the emotion that goes into there. Because to go from where we were in that match and the catharsis, the whole journey emotional we went on, I might have concerns about some of the cardiac events that I suffered during this match, but that's why we love football. Myocardial infarctions. That's why we love football. Heart attacks. Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm mad at myself that I turned it off, but at the same time, I remember exactly why I did it. I was so frustrated and upset that I'm like, I can't deal with this. Like you're talking about myocardial infarction. I was literally about to throw stuff in my house. Like I was looking at my laptop. I'm like, I should break that. Like,
I was at Bill's, and I'm like, I know this is your house and your family's here, but you might need to tell your children to leave the house because I'm not leaving because I don't want to.
yeah. Well, you couldn't get out anyway.
No, yeah, I couldn't. I was denied. Foiled by a child-proof screen door again.
Side note, sorry, just for the other guys, like when we went back to the first leg real quick, when they scored that equalizer, do you remember when both of us went son of a bitch and that Arsenal fan in the back cheered?
Was he an Arsenal fan?
Oh yeah, he had an Arsenal shirt on.
Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, he's lucky I didn't see it then.
Oh yeah, I was like, I looked at him and he looked at me and I was like, you dick.
Well, he won't be showing up there anymore because
oh god, no.
Pretty much garbage. But yeah, I didn't know he was an Arsenal. I didn't see what he was wearing. If I had seen it, it would have been a different day. It would have been a different afternoon altogether. But but Maguire's goal puts us to the semifinal, which honestly, that's so impressive. But yet face to face with yet another Spanish opponent in high flying Athletic Club Bilbao, who were pretty much the favorites once this whole league phase got into it, and they were flying. They were doing well. They were doing well in La Liga. They were the favorites in this tournament. I think initially the odds had us second behind Spurs, but then as things went on, and Bilbao were just flying. So, and they were flying high. But honestly, we clipped their wings and brought them back down to earth because, again, I think I got over my hoodoo on Spanish sides against Sociedad and then Bilbao. I'm like, whatever. Mm-hmm. And we destroyed them. I mean, 3-0 at their ground, the same stadium where the final is going to be held. So if we win there twice, does that make it our ground now? Do we own it? Go on Zillow, just put it down. We got it now. Which really made this
do that now.
Yeah. Which really, that 3-0 first leg at their ground really made the second leg at Old Trafford basically a formality, right? It just was. I mean,
well, and that first leg too, like we looked good because we had that 1-0 goal before the red card.
Yep.
And that, like, again, Casemiro coming up. Oh, I'm sorry. That was where we had the winger that is known as Harry Maguire have that beautiful cross coming.
Yeah, Harry Dona, as I call him now.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen people complain about the red card, and I'm like, do you not realize that a lot of other sides have had their opposition players get sent off? Like, Bilbao again had like 3 or 4 matches where they've played teams going down to 10 men. Other teams have done it as well. It happens. So haters gonna hate though. Second leg though, I mean, formality. Bilbao were without a couple key players. Both the Williamses, Sanset, Vivian, who was the player that got sent off. But they did start strong, much more physical than I thought they were. I thought they were going to be compact. I thought they were going to kind of just hit us on the break. But they came out swinging like they literally had nothing to lose, which they didn't. And they looked good. They got the opener. But it was kind of just there the whole match, right? But then like the last 12 minutes or so, we just kind of like went on a rampage.
We woke up.
yeah, we just were like, F that. And that was the match the subs basically changed that game, because you remember
Yeah,
Ahmad and Mason Mount came on as substitutes, and they just grabbed that game by the scruff of the neck and
yeah,
just made it their own. Mount in particular woke up and chose violence that day
yes.
with a brace. His first goals at Old Trafford, by the way, both of which were just stellar goals.
Mhm.
Excellent goals. I'm going to be honest, though. I thought the first one was better than the long range one, but I
Yeah,
think
I liked that first one way better.
the silk involved to take that ball, put it just behind his back, just a little heel chop, no extra touches needed. Just he knew exactly where he was. He just turned and shot. Like, that's instinct. That's what you need. I wish Hoyland could do that more often. Just one touch, take a shot. You don't need to take 18 touches.
If we can
Um,
get that mount in the final,
yeah. This is what I've said about so many players, whether it's Shaw, whoever the injury-prone players. Like, yes, we can be critical of the injuries, and it's not their fault, but we want a fit and firing mount. A fit and firing mount is good for us.
oh yeah,
Like a fit and firing in-form Casemiro is good for us.
hmm
We can criticize Casemiro's legs being gone, but if he's in the same form he's been in, that is only going to help us. Just one match, that's all it's going to take. This is a final. So, well, we closed that one out 4-1. Made it 7-1 on aggregate, which just, again, reversed my very rational fear of Spanish sides, by the way. It was rational. Don't try
oh
to
yeah,
say it
oh yeah.
wasn't. It's a legit condition. I'm a therapist. You can believe me. But that was our road to the final. That's how we went from being second favorites to now in the final, where we
Mhm.
are going to play Spurs. I need to get caught up on these super chats, though, because I am not doing a good job. Oh, Rajat's already thinking the Champions League. No way United is going to knock out this Barcelona team under Hansi Flick. I mean, we knocked out Barcelona a couple of years ago. Um, Gary still wants Chirke at Old Trafford despite grabbing his nuts. Yeah, you guys. I mean, Gary, you're new to the channel, but yeah, we love Chirke here.
Mhm.
He's for 20-25 million. It's a no brainer to me. He is excellent player. I'm surprised he's still at Lyon. I feel like he's been playing it like for years, even though he's 21. So.
Mhm.
Compose View says, what about Ezekiel Palacios from Leverkusen and Nkapie? Another shout. I featured both on the channel already. Compose View now. I think Palacios was last year. Nkapie was featured in my video for Licha replacements that we need to be looking at. I did like a video for just 5 left-sided center backs that I thought we should look at. Now, he was my pipe dream option, my expensive option, because he's one of the best defenders out there. But go check out that video. There are a couple of them listed on there. So, but yeah, I do like both those players. I think Palacios is very, very good. Plays a very similar system as well. Usman says, when we won against Lyon, let's just say the neighbors weren't happy. Let's say Bill's neighbors, where I would, they were probably happier than they would have been. Because if I had figured out that childproof lock, I would have went full Giggsy running through the neighborhood, shirt off, windmilling it, hamburger meat hanging all out, everything. It would have been Bill would have had to move. He would have just had to move. There's just nothing about it. Usman, you're funny, man. I'm just trying to catch up here. You can keep sharing your thoughts as I get caught up here, man.
No, I agree. Like I was excited too after that Leon. After it was already over with, and I knew what happened after I caught up.
Yeah.
Like that. Oh man.
Who's the
I
dude
still
that loaded dice who in that one match, the semifinal against Coventry, he like freaked out and left? What was the kid's name? Lave, like Lave.
Late. Yes.
Yes, that I still laugh about that. Don't leave too early, guys. That's
Yep.
lesson learned. Dylan committed day one error here.
I did.
Rajat says he does not think Alvaro will come back to England. Well, he's going to Real Madrid from what it sounds like, so it is what it is. Gary's got an interesting chat here too. He says Maguire's redemption arc is something to behold. Yeah, I don't know about you, Dylan. I mean, I know Maguire's gotten a lot of hate. I think the biggest criticism I've seen from Maguire is just how slow he is, which is fine. You can be slow. You don't, like I've said many times, it's in a certain system. If he went to Everton right now, Maguire would look like world class because he suits the way they play. But you can't deny the guy has been absolutely, like even against City earlier in the season, he's just class. Like I don't know how to describe it. I wouldn't say still don't think he was worth what we paid for him. And I'm not saying I want like to keep him forever, but Like he's done, like again, similar to Casemiro, he's stepped up this
Yep.
season and he's done what he needed to do. So all the fans out there who've been criticizing him, it just is what it is. It's just going to be funny. Like I don't want to talk bad about other content creators, right? I don't. That's not the way I roll. But there are so many out there who just love to hate on their own club and their own players, and I don't understand it. And so the silence and the apologies that I want from these people when
Mm-hmm.
if McGuire scores a winner or something like I'm gonna be sitting there like
Mm-hmm. I'll
so
be honest. I had my doubts. Like I would get critical with McGuire. Like I just, but
yeah.
everything that had been going on makes sense. He got over it. Like I said, he's class.
He's
So
never going to be good like on the
yeah,
ball. Like I don't think he
yeah,
suits filling out from the back. He's horrible at that. He when he's on the ball and he's under pressure, he turns more. He's got more turns than a 14-year-old learning how to parallel park. Like it's just the way it is. It's just but that's fine. He's never. It's like asking McTominay to like be able to start like hitting Trivellas like Luka Modric does. It's not going to happen. That's not his game. Or Hoyland to turn him into Olivier Giroud and hold up the ball. Like that's not his game. It
yeah.
just is what it is. Play to his strengths. McGuire, if these long balls come in, get rid of them. If balls come into the box, get rid of them. He's not great at that second one, but it is what it
Mhm.
is. Theater of McGuire's big head, says Rajat. Harry Maldini.
Love it.
Um, Composed View says, I'm watching the Brighton versus Liverpool game. This Brighton team is so good. The coach is something else. I like the way he sets up his team. Now you're good, man. I was checking that score before we went live. I didn't know what that score ended up being. Oh, Brighton ended up winning.
Did they
Brighton
win?
won 3-2. Yeah.
Sweet. That's
Doesn't really
awesome.
matter. Liverpool already won, but
It's always good to see Poole lose.
yeah, I don't think they care too much. Slabby turned into prime Ronaldinho against Bilbao. Yeah, I'm still catching up on a lot of these chats, you guys. So if these are from like minutes ago, let me know. Composed View says if Amorim gets sacked, he'd take Hertzler. Well, we'll be saying a lot of people will be saying the same thing about Hertzler in 6 months if he is in the same boat. So,
Mhm.
oh, Gary's going on about the Mason Mount goal. Yeah, I'm just getting caught up on the super chats or the chats here, guys. So yeah, Machado. Who else had a goal like that? That was Cobby, right? Was
Yeah.
that last season? Who had a similar
Mhm.
goal? Was that against Liverpool? And that was the quarterfinal, wasn't it?
I think so.
Or was that the match earlier this season when it was 2-2?
I think that was the Liverpool game.
Yeah. Danny wants to know is Mount starting in the false nine against Rasmus. Thoughts? We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Remember, you guys can't open the book of the stream and jump straight to the middle. We're getting there. Um, yeah, Turkey is an absolute steal at 25
Yeah.
million, man. Danny's gonna be so pissed if we don't jump on the Turkey deal. Yeah, I think you and I both.
Me
I
too.
mean, all I can do is hope that they have another alternative in mind because I don't think it can just be Cunha and like I want Gyökeres, I want Cherke, I want Cunha, I want Yashari, I want all these players, I want everybody.
I'm on Jonathan David.
I would think he's be another one, but at this point, I think because I'm so done with Hoyland and I know that Hoyland cannot be counted upon to score goals. I need someone who's going to do his job and Hoyland's job, and that's going to be Gyökeres.
Yeah,
Gyökeres
that's true.
scores enough goals for 2 world-class strikers. I mean, the guy's got these just absolute beast mode. Danny says, Maguire passing in the first 20 minutes against Chelsea was way faster through the progressive lines. No hesitation out of him in the last few games. His confidence is on a high. Yeah, and that's been the key for me is Maguire he looks so confident, and that's what's going to happen when you're just playing well, when you're performing well, and you've had a couple of these excellent moments. It's what I've said about Hoyland. You guys remember before we went in an international break and he was struggling. I said he looks like he's getting closer and closer to getting a goal. His movement's improving, and he got his goal. He got an assist first, and then he got his goals. And I was like, he's looking better. But then the international break threw everything off, and now he's
Yep.
struggling again. Maguire is older, so he's not going to let it get to him. But again, Maguire doesn't strike me as the kind of player, kind of person who's going to let that get to him. He's kept his head down. He's worked hard. No complaining. Very professional. And that's what I like. You guys know I've said many times, like, there's a word that comes before footballer, and it's professional footballer. And I think that you have to exemplify that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, big up, Danny. No, absolutely. Maguire's got to get his flowers. We'll talk about that towards the end of the stream too. That's a new question. I'll put that question on there at the end, but maybe we'll save it for afterwards. But like, Who would be your man of the Europa League campaign if we end up lifting this thing? Would it be like Casemiro? Would it be Maguire? Bruno?
Mm-hmm.
Gary says, even if you win the Europa, there's still going to be fans who won't. Well, there's always fans who won't be happy, right? I think people just like to complain, right? And like to, some of these people, they're personalized. Maybe they're just not happy and they want everyone else to join them in that. But
Yep.
Dana says Maguire's passing has been a lot better lately. Yeah, and it's funny what happens when you get a little time, right, with
Yep.
a manager and a system and some training and stuff. And
When I think he likes the back three better too, because with
yeah,
that back four, that was never really the way he fit in those systems.
yeah.
Go ahead.
As the central defender in a back three, the other defenders can do a little bit of that legwork for you. They can handle some of these runs, and Maguire, if he just his job is just to win those balls and ping passes, and like that's all he needs to do. He's actually very good at driving the ball out from defense and carrying it up the pitch. I mean, how many times do we see him go on these runs up into the final third? Like
And
he
he's
can do it. Yeah.
confident in doing that. That's good for that center back role for that.
And what his teammates need to do, it's kind of like when you're playing any position and one of your teammates kind of does something, the other teammates just need to recognize when Maguire's doing that, our rest defense needs to be good enough to where if he does lose the ball, we're not exposed. And that's where we're bad. We're not good at recoveries. And that's what the first thing Amorim worked on when he got here, if you guys remember, in that training video. Yeah, Box says, give me everyone. He's got a list. Everyone's going on a transfer rant here. Box says, Bashali, Jimenez, 8 Nori, Chevalier. Which Jimenez are we talking about? Danny says, Embuemo, if not Cherky. I like Embuemo. Very different players. I mean, Embuemo's going to cost you like twice as much probably. But Usman says, if we win or lose the final, nobody can hate on Amorim. Well, I'm not Amorim out, but Amorim does have he'll have criticism, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it because he hasn't done everything right. Like, and Dylan, you were with me when we did that New Year's resolution video. We had criticisms, we had expectations and demands and things, so we can revisit that later on. Gary says, according to Fabrizio, we're in contact with Atlanta for Ederson. Yeah, that story's been popping up a lot. We talked a little bit to start the show, Gary. Like we have new links to Fratesi at Inter. Fresh sounds like Cunha could be announced any day now here. So Composed View says Casemiro, in my opinion, he just found a new step in the Europa League campaign. Seemed like he was in his element. Yeah, Casemiro in Europe is absolute mustard. Look at this. Gary, friend of the channel and just became a member. Awesome, man. Gary, I appreciate that so much, man. Thank you for doing that. We're glad to have you. As you can see, I try to get everybody's thoughts and everybody's opinions. It does sometimes make for a longer show, but I want to make sure that you guys are heard, the conversation's going, because that's why we're here. I don't like just listening to myself talk. I want to hear you guys talk. So that's why I bring Christian Eriksen on, so he can talk and I can just read the stuff. But big up, Gary, man. Thank you. I appreciate you jumping on. Like Danny says, absolute legend, dude. So big up, Gary. Glad to have you, my friend. But yeah, Casemiro, dude. He might be up there for me. I mean, I think it's always that age-old battle, right? The goal scorers versus the players who actually have like the good matches. And that doesn't mean the goal scorers don't have the good matches, but like someone especially in the Casemiro position where it's not like a flair noticeable position. But I've always said that when it comes to these holding midfielders, when you don't hear their name a lot in a match, that usually means they're having a good match. Like Carrick, class, don't really get a lot of the accolades, but yeah, Kat, your thoughts on Casemiro overall in this campaign?
He has exactly what Composed you said. He's found a new step. He's looked like his old self, like he was at Real Madrid. He's composed. He's confident. He's pinging those passes.
Yeah, dude.
Love the comment, Gary. Love that.
Yeah, Gary's a legend.
Gary's awesome. But yeah, Casemiro, and when he goes in for challenges, he's looking more confident. Like before, you could see the hesitation. He's just getting going. Before when he wasn't playing, now he knows where he needs to be. I think he trusts who's playing next to him a little bit more. Yeah. He's got a little rapport with Ugarte. He trusts Bruno back there when Bruno's back there. Man, he's going to be key on Wednesday. He's going to be a key engine in the midfield to keep everything going. So
And of course, Amorim has been managing a lot of the minutes from some of
Mm-hmm.
these players. Like Casemiro is getting, not starting some matches, and Bruno and he even didn't start the other day. Again, was it West Ham? Neither of them started. I can't remember off the top of my head now. Um, Managing the minutes, and you never know. It's always hard. I mean, that's why you trust your coaching staff and stuff. That's probably why Amorim is paying for his staff to come with him to the final, because they're kind of important, right? So that's an absolute joke. Although I did see that. Did you see the story today that I forget who put it out there, but like some of the players reportedly have paid for flights. They've all pooled their money and paid for a flight for their friends and family to come.
I didn't see that, no, but that's
I,
awesome.
I can't remember. I mean, flights are expensive. Let's be
Oh
honest.
yeah.
Chartering a plane is a big ordeal. But yeah, I've shared my thoughts on that, on the Ineos thing, on cutting back. So that's academic at this point. But it is a shame. And I put the poll out the other day too when it came to them not bringing staff and stuff, and wanting to leave more tickets for the fans. I put that poll out there, and mostly everybody on the poll voted that the fans are more important. So, which is kind of like what Ineos's mindset was. So, what are your thoughts on that? I haven't had a chance to talk to you about that.
I, I don't know. I see what they're trying to do, because I'm like, yeah, I want the fans to be there too, because the fans are the heart of the club. I
Yeah,
mean, you want them to be able to experience that moment, but you also want the people that have been there, helping and putting forth the effort, especially with the redundancies that have been here. Would have shown a little good faith. So I'm leaning more towards they should have done it, just because, that would have been nice for the crew that are still there. But I
yeah,
totally understand why they want the fans to be there. I get that. That's not what I would have done.
yeah. And I think it's like every decision that Ineos have made. It's like they have options, and it's like they keep choosing just the worst
Yep.
option from a PR, from an optics
Yep.
standpoint. Everything they're doing, it's just. And part of me wonders if there's a possibility that they can do any good in the fans' eyes at this point. I think some fans are just like Ineos or
Oh
the
yeah.
evil villain, but it's just everything they're doing. And I did that video the other week, what Ineos can learn from Wrexham,
Hmm.
and some of the things that Wrexham's owners have done over there. And it's the focus has really been the community and the fans and the history of the club, which I think is the main things that our club has steered so far away from in the last 2 decades under this ownership. So
Hmm.
Ineos have an opportunity to do differently, and that was the whole point of the video, on what things, because we
Hmm.
can learn from smaller clubs.
Oh
Because I
yeah.
think sometimes you got to think smaller to think bigger. So
Hmm.
um, Danny says we always said on here, if Casemiro is rested, rotated, and plays once a week, he will perform. We did. Um, I do think that Casemiro just. I think resting, and that's the hard part. Like how long, how much rest is too much rest? How
Hmm.
much minutes are too many minutes? It's difficult to tell, but Gary says Ruben paid for some of the staff that were laid off. Did he pay for some that were laid off? I thought he just paid for some of his staff members that he values. Interesting. I didn't see that one,
Could
but if
be
he
new.
did,
Yeah, I'm not quite sure about that. So.
yeah, that's class.
Hmm.
Amorim's class.
He is.
Yeah, like Danny says, proper gentleman. That yeah. So that's on our road to the final, and what a rocky up and down roller coaster. I mean, we're undefeated in Europe right now.
Hmm.
The only side in, I don't count the conference league. I don't get me on conference league. I don't count it. But the only side
Not through Chelsea.
in Europe here that's undefeated right now. So, which is impressive. Anywhere you slice it, you can look at the league table and say this and that, but as far as Europa League is concerned, we have been just arguably one of the best in Europe at this point. Um, Gary says apparently he paid for a couple of the guys and ladies that were let go.
Sweet. That's a
Interesting.
class move right there.
It's a class move, and I applaud it. But at the same time, Ineos can't be happy about that, right? It makes them look like mugs, like absolute mugs. Because they denied Bruno last year for the FA Cup
Hmm.
final when he wanted to pay for stuff, but now like it's harder to turn down the manager, right?
Yeah.
And it's like it's his money. What is it?
Yeah, that was the thing. I never understood that. Like, Bruno's
That's like
paying. Oh
yeah,
well.
that's like that's so like to me that's not that doesn't look good because
Yeah.
that's like a kid going to his dad and saying, "Can I have ice cream?" And his dad says no, and then his mom says yes. Like there's just there's no united front there, no pun intended. So that's I mean I love it. I would have done the same thing, but I gotta be like Carrie says, mini Mourinho mind games from Ruben. Um, Yeah, he knows
Wouldn't mind
Portuguese
that.
workers. A little mini Mourinho, just with a little less narcissism, please, because
Mm-hmm.
Mourinho's narcissism was like through the roof. So that was our any final thoughts on the league phase before we kind of jump ahead to this match?
Yep.
Because that was a look back, you know. So, but one last look back for a little bit of fun, just to kind of shake things up a little bit, because that's how we roll here. How about some trivia? You guys want to do some trivia?
Do it.
Now, Dylan hasn't seen these questions; they're in a separate document, so he can't see them. But I thought I would put out a little bit of trivia for you guys, so you can, so you guys can have a little fun, get you guys thinking. Please don't cheat. I'll be upset if you cheat, but I'm gonna ask you guys some questions. Feel free to throw your answers in the chat. So on our league phase and everything on the round of 16, quarterfinal, semifinal, throughout the entire Europa League campaign so far, how many goals have United scored in this year's Europa League campaign? Give me your closest you can get.
Wow. Trying to think here. Hold on.
If you guys got the answer, throw them out for a second too. You're not looking at Foot Mob, are you?
No, I'm just thinking. I'm gonna say because we had a lot of like low scoring ones at the beginning.
Yeah, we did.
So I'm gonna say 28.
28. So you're going 28. Box says roughly 40. Box is getting there. Big up, Rich. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, Rich.
Oh wow.
Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
So Gary and Flash are spot on here. We've scored 30. Danny says 12. We've scored 35
It seems
goals.
like that, Danny.
We've scored 35 goals in the Europa League campaign. Now you guys remember, like, we've got a couple of really big aggregates against some of these Spanish sides. So Danny says 12. Yeah, we've scored 35. But good guesses, everyone. Next question. Who scored our first goal of the Europa League this year?
Oh, we said this earlier.
Yeah, we did. Eagle-eyed.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything.
All right, chat.
Chat, what is it?
Who scored the first goal of our Europa League campaign? Box got it. First time out. Yes, it was Christian Eriksen. You guys remember who that was against?
Yep.
You can answer too if you want.
That was Svente. I went on that rant for those of you that saw.
Yes, you did.
Getting on the show. That's two rants.
No.
I hit the trifecta. You know, we might have a third one.
No, it was not Hoyland, Danny. It was good. Are you being sarcastic? Are you think you're being sarcastic? Next question. So Bruno has scored 7 goals and provided 4 assists in the Europa League this season, which has put him second in the Europa League for goal involvements. Who is first? Get your answers in the chat, guys. Who's first in the Europa League for goals and assists, total goal involvements, not just goals? So Bruno is second. Who is first? Let me know. We'll get a couple of answers in, and then we'll let Dylan get a guess here. I'm gonna take another drink of water.
No, you're good.
Yes, it is just a mason jar. So that's how we roll around here. No, just for the whole Europa League box.
So who's for Red Devil United? Who scored the most? Who has the most goal involvements, goals and assists for the Europa League?
Not just for United, for the entire Europa League. So Bruno is second in the Europa League for goal involvements. He's got 11 goal involvements. Who's first in the Europa League? Gary's got it here.
I was going to say Cherky. That was my first thought. So Gary, spot on.
Yeah, Cherky's got it, and that's why we want. And then conveniently, it's Gary who was talking about Cherky earlier. How many Garnacho shots per goal? Everyone's just taking the piss now. Yeah, he's joined. That's why he's joining. That's why it's so sunny for him. He's in Spain right now. He's joining me for the stream. So if you guys remember, we did when the league phase was announced. One of the big things that they put out was the total distance that was going to have to be covered by each club in the Europa League. You guys remember that? Some of those distances were crazy. this featured because it featured clubs from some pretty far away places. I mean, loads of travel for everyone involved. So here's a question for everybody. Get prepared. As close as you can get. What were the total kilometers that Manchester United traveled in the league phase of the Europa League? You can guess because it's numbered. No
I
one's gonna
want to
guess.
say it was around 6,800 kilometers.
Oh, you're way off, bro.
Oh, never mind. I remember reading that, but I was like 6,800 was like in my head. And I was like,
No, we traveled quite a bit in the Europa League. Not as like and when I tell you the number, you're gonna be like, holy shit! But that's not even close to the team that had to travel the most. Now, when you're the furthest team away, you're gonna have to travel the most. But
oh yeah,
guys, get your answers in. How many distance in kilometers did United have to travel for this Europa League phase? We've got a couple questions left. Box is getting a little warmer. Not quite there yet. It's gonna blow your mind.
I'm already. Yeah.
Gary's. Do you have an answer? You already answered. You already guessed.
Oh yeah, I had I was
off.
way off.
So Gary's right in there. He gave me about 1,000 to work with. So we've actually traveled 15,186 kilometers for the league phase of the Europa League. That's a lot. Which team? So the next question: which team traveled the most distance in the league phase?
Did Maccabi Tel Aviv make the Europa League?
I don't remember. I think they might have been in the Conference League.
Conference
Didn't we
League?
play them a couple years back?
Yeah, I was gonna pick Maccabi Tel Aviv, but if they're in the Conference League, trying to think.
Try to think of where these teams are coming from.
Yeah, I'm going like Southeastern Europe right now.
It's a good guess, Bucks. I'll leave it up for a couple more seconds here.
Wait, Molde Molde, because they're up at the old or not Molde.
You're thinking
Bodo
Bodo
Glimt.
Glimt, yeah.
Bodo Glimt.
Nope, not that one. Gary's on the right track here. So the team that traveled the most distance in the league phase of the Europa League was Karabag FK.
Okay. Yes.
They traveled 26,380 kilometers, which is just insane. And this is why I don't have a problem necessarily with paying for flights, because the amount of fuel that puts out and stuff from traveling is just insane. But some good guesses in there. So 2 more questions left. Be sure to, guys, get prepared. So our quarterfinal tie against Lyon was an absolute roller coaster. We already talked about that, right? So it wasn't the first time we played Lyon, though. What is our head-to-head record against Lyon heading into that quarterfinal? Because we have played them in the past.
I think it's 0-1-1. I think we drew. I think we had an away leg we lost, and I think we drew at home back in one of the Champions League matches.
So that's your guess. 1 win, 1 draw?
No wins, 1 draw, 1 loss.
Oh,
I
gotcha.
think they knocked us out, if I remember. Of course, anyway, don't worry about it.
Anybody else got a guess? What was our head-to-head against Lyon going into that quarterfinal? Not including the quarterfinal. This was going into the quarterfinal. I'll leave it up for a couple more seconds. Get more water, man. It's dry in here. Rajat's got guesses. So Box got it nailed down. We 2 wins, 2 draws, 0 losses against Lyon going into this quarterfinal match. So pretty decent history, right? All right, final question. This has to do with the final because it's an all-English final as we face off against Spurs. But this isn't the first time we've played Spurs in a cup final. How many times have United and Spurs faced each other in a cup final?
I don't know, 5. I'm like trying to think of when Spurs would be in a final to play, and I was like, it's way back in the 80s or 70s. I can't remember.
Box is going 8 times. Gary says twice.
Danny says once.
Danny got it.
Oh, really?
Well, technically, Danny and Gary are both right. So we played them once in the 2009 League Cup final, and we beat them 4-1 on pens. Now, so Danny got it right with once, but Gary, technically, there was a bonus question or bonus answer because the women's team played Spurs last year in the FA Cup final, and they won 4-0. So technically, twice, but once and twice. So big up yourselves. You guys know your stuff. The math stuff, the distance is like, that was insane, but good guesses all around. So everyone get your thoughts in. What was your favorite moment so far of the Europa League campaign? Favorite match? Just throw out all your thoughts in there. Do you ever think that going undefeated was going to be at all possible, Dylan?
No, I figured we were going to lose. Honestly, I thought we were going to lose at Bilbao.
Yeah,
that was the one I was like, once we got through Leon, I was like, we might get the drop. Bilbao, I was like, they're on fire. They're going to do something. We're probably going to lose that one. Have to come back like from 2-1 down. Or whatever.
Yeah. Now, Box, that's my answer. That's my favorite moment so far. Was that Maguire winner? And you know what's funny? And like I've said, even in the match reaction, I got to hold my hands up because during that moment, because this is not the first time Amorim's done. I was very critical of Amorim when we needed that late thing, and he put on Maguire and he kept Maguire up high in the box, kept Maguire and just kept hoofing balls because I was very critical of it as a tactic because it lacked any sort of inspiration or any sort of imagination. It was just hoof and hope. And literally, and Bill will attest to this, I was at his house. He was like laughing at me because I was literally criticizing it. And then we scored the winner, and I was like, hey, if it works, it works. The same way like hoofing it to Fellaini worked for Jose Mourinho. A lot of people were critical of it, but that was my favorite moment. Pretty much everybody's saying that's their million miles best moment. Danny's throwing out the Manu equalizer. That was a great moment as well. Yeah, Bruno's pen. Yeah, it's been a roller coaster. So,
it has.
Let's talk about this final because that's why we're all here, right? My scream after Maguire winner made my 5-year-old cry. Nice. It's always a win when you can make a 5-year-old cry, right? So that's my goal every day when I wake up in the morning. How can I go make a 5-year-old cry today? That's why we do what we do, right? That's why I'm a therapist. It's job security, mess them up. Parents will bring them back to me. I win both ways. It's good business. So let's look at how both teams have performed so far in the competition. So obviously, Danny blew his voice box. So United finished third, obviously, in the league phase. They got 18 points. Spurs just behind us on 17 points in fourth place in that league phase. United are still unbeaten. Spurs did lose once against to Galatasaray, and then again later on to AZ Alkmaar, and they had to come back. There was a moment where we thought maybe they weren't going to do it against Bodo Glimt either, but our XG is the best right now in the competition, but again, Spurs are right behind us. We are top of the competition in the Europa League for goals per match with 2.5. Spurs are a little behind us with 1.9, so not too far off. They do concede much fewer goals than we do, though. They're third for when it comes to goals conceded, and we are way down in 13th, technically tied for 8th. So we do leak some goals. A lot of it is cutbacks. A lot of it is headers. A lot of it is just simple errors, really. If we can cut out the errors, I think we're going to look a lot better overall. We do average way more possession. I think that's kind of how Amorim wants. We are second for that right now for average possession. Spurs are 14th, but that makes sense when you look at the way they play, right? Sit back, soak up the pressure, hit them on the break, get it wide. But so what we need to do is make sure that we capitalize on that possession. Like famously, Louis van Gaal would show off his possession stats. It does not matter if you don't do anything with it.
Exactly.
We have to be better with the ball. We have to take our chances. No more of this shoehorn passing around the box because nobody wants to take a shot or because everyone's like, I'm in good position, but where's Bruno? Let me find Bruno. Bruno will do something with it. Like, just make something happen. Spurs are very quick on the break. We have to use the possession wisely when we have it. You guys are funny. We're third for shots on target right now per 90. Second for big chances, but we are third for big chances missed. Second for passes per 90. Again, there's that possession coming back. first for touches in the opposition box. It's going to happen when you're throwing it up to the big guy in the box, right? So numbers wise, we are the better side going into this. But then when you watch us, especially in the league against Spurs, who we played 3 times already, you're like, is that the same team? What the hell? Is that Bayern? What's happening? In the league, it's just been a crazy lack of goals. We're shit. We can't score to save our life. And Mazraoui, if you guys saw some of the quotes coming out ahead of this one, Mazraoui pretty much said the same thing ahead of this one. He said, out of 2 chances in every Europa League, we score a minimum 1. Out of the 20 chances we get in the Premier League, we don't manage to score 1. That's the biggest difference. We're not scoring goals, and that can't continue. Dylan, what are your thoughts on, when I threw out some of those numbers, anything jump out at you? Any thoughts on that?
When I saw some of those stats earlier, because you kind of gave me a little bit of a rundown with some of that prior to this. I was like, yeah, XG sounds about right after the last few games. We just need to finish those chances, and that's the most frustrating part. We're making them, we're just not finishing. Yeah. And so I'm not really shocked, but I am just like, it's more like frustrated that we can't finish those chances.
Yeah. And it's part of it is a lack of quality. Part of it is, I think, a lack of confidence. Part of it is youth. A lot of the attackers that get into those positions are just young. And so the instinct, the movement, the experience, the bank of knowledge for their brain to just instantaneously pick up on in situations is just not there. We can't, like, judging Højlund or Garnacho like they're 28 years old is just not going to happen. That being said, there's no excuse for some of the sitters that they've missed.
Yeah.
I've been very critical. But numbers wise, we're just performing in Europe. So the question is, does it cancel each other out because we're playing a Premier League side in Europe? We struggled a bit against Rangers too, as well, because they're very physical.
Yep.
So Gary says, if we can't beat this Spurs team without Madison, Kulusevski, and Bergvall, then we deserve nothing. There's a question mark over Sarr, too.
Mm-hmm. Hey, don't forget, their most important player is also out. Timo Werner.
I mean, he's really our most important player on the day, really, if you think about it. The best way to defend that guy is just to not defend him. Just literally like Fernando Torres at Chelsea. Just let him get all the goal to aim at and just let him give a fan a souvenir.
I was watching one of the Spurs matches with Jeff one time, and Spurs are on a break, and Werner gets it and misses it, and Jeff goes, "I was worried there for a second, and then I saw Timo Werner had the ball, and I stopped being concerned."
I remember when he was like the most highly rated attacker in Europe like 4 years ago. What happened to that guy? Fuck. Man. Another example, man. Just same route as Bellotti, as so many other players, man. Gary says, we can become the first team to win the Europa without you losing a game. Finally, we would break a record this season that isn't negative. I mean, I really hope it's not a Patriots giant Super Bowl situation from like 15 years ago. Remember that? Yeah. Patriots went the whole season undefeated, lost the Super Bowl. I hope we don't do that. I don't want to give Spurs their first trophy. I don't want to keep Ange. I want to be the reason Ange is not here next season. That's what I want. Gary says Werner is a scrub. I forgot he was still there, honestly. I thought they loaned him and then they got not done that. But
the only reason I knew that is I was like, okay, who's all out for Tottenham? And then on the very bottom of the page was Timo Werner. I'm like, he's still there?
Yeah. To be fair, Ange has got a lot of injuries, but he's also been resting a lot of his go-to guys ahead of this one. Vicario hasn't even started the last couple matches, which is insane. Porro didn't get a single minute on the weekend. Yep. So you wonder, again, there's that fine line, too much rest versus balancing the minutes. Will Porro be rusty and stuff, not match fit? Johnson, Richarlison, Solanke, Bentancur, even Basuma, they were all second half subs on the weekend. So maybe Ange is trying to avoid injuries. It has been a big criticism of his in the last, especially early on in the season, all the injuries. But again, like you guys are saying, no Madison, no Bergvall, potentially no Kulusevski, Sarr potentially as well. And Sarr's been massive for them. He's all over the place. He's getting involved in everything. So that rotation, though, and prioritizing this final could also have played a role in their back-to-back 2-0 losses in the league, though, as well. So clearly the players that they're missing they're shit, though, so it doesn't really matter. You have to think his job is on the line, though, and he knows it, right?
Oh yeah.
I
Well, and
mean,
I kind of have this in my notes for Tottenham for them going into this match is like it's been a terrible season. They're still, but you can see they're still putting an effort in for Ange, at least for the most part,
yeah,
and they'll want to keep him, and they'll be confident because they beat us 3 times, and they're kind of playing with house money. If they lose, oh well, like it's Tottenham, they're supposed to lose, so I mean, they can
yeah.
play a little freer. So that's a concerning thought for me, just on how I would approach this match.
Well, I'm seeing all the violins out for Ange this week all over the media and about all his injuries and stuff. Oh, he's got all these injuries. Like, no one cared when we had the most injuries
Oh
in the
yeah,
league last year. Nobody cares that we're
yeah,
missing some of our best players right now in
yeah.
Licha and Xerxes and all these guys. No one cares.
No,
Um, so again, this is why I have zero empathy for other teams when they have injuries. It's not that I want
mm-hmm.
anybody injured. I just don't care because nobody cares when it's us. So
Yep.
Gary says, no result on Wednesday would surprise me. If we beat them 3-0 or lose 3-0, although I do see this going all the way to pens. That's my worry.
If we go to pens, I'm not confident.
No, I'm not confident either.
Yeah.
Gary says, I think even if Ange wins, he's a goner. I mean, the fans are just not happy with him. You think maybe a trophy might pacify some of them, but I doubt it. So we know what to expect from Spurs tactically, right? High energy, aggressive pressing, no time on the ball for us, quick transitions, overloads in those attacking areas. We've seen it all before. The exact kind of stuff that always causes us problems. And the things that I think we need to do to get ourselves a better chance in those against that kind of opposition, we never seem to do. Move the ball out quicker, get it wide to get it forward. Don't try to play through midfield. Don't try to sit on it in and around your area. Don't let Onana just sit there and hold on to it and dance around with it. Pass it, get it forward. Spurs are going to leave a high line. The longer you take to build out from the back, the less and less opportunity you have to exploit that. And you saw it against Newcastle, City, other teams that play a similar high line. The chances that we get, even the goal we got against Newcastle, is because we exploited that space and
Mm-hmm.
got in behind. We have nothing but the half of their pitch to deal with, and we have to take advantage of that. We need to look out for Son, obviously, and Johnson. Johnson's very quick. They do
He's
cause
going to be.
problems.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
caused us problems in the other matches. Johnson down that right side.
yeah.
So
They like to get it wide and then kind of move it inward. Look out for these runs at the back post. That's exactly how they got a goal on us the other day. They are second in the Premier League right now for goals from counterattacks, so we have to look out for that. Again, we're pretty decent at dealing with those balls, but what I want us to do is they're going to be putting these balls into space. Just it frustrates the hell out of me when we get a ball down the channel that we're defending, and instead of just getting rid of it, we try to bring it down. We cause ourselves problems. We lose possession, it just needs to stop. Just deal with the danger, regroup, and try again. It's not that difficult. Gary's really worried. He's really worried if Hoyland starts, which he will. Danny says the game will be won in midfield and who takes their chances. Yeah, I think that we don't have the energy in midfield. And I think Bruno is doing really well in a deeper role, but I think we miss so much when he plays there. This is why we need a Chirke. To move Bruno deep, we have no one who can do what he does in the final phase. Put him up high, we have no one who can pick passes and stuff from deep. It's just we need players. That's just all there is to it. I think the problem is with all the things that I just said, how we exploit that space is Amorim just seems very reluctant to take advantage of this. Too often we see our wingbacks basically sit in the back five rather than actually get forward. Dorgu is doing a little better, and I think Mazraoui recently has looked really good in that role, but we have to do better. Ahmad looked like either he didn't want to take on anyone the other day or he looked like he was told not to, but I don't know what it is about wide players with getting it into good positions and then stopping. Ahmad needs to just let's go. I want to see some courage to get the ball.
And I do wonder if that was like you saying that now, because I noticed that too. I'm like, I wonder if he got the order, like, just don't risk it. Just
no sprints, right?
Yep, don't hurt yourself.
So I mean, that's a whole separate conversation, right? And then that gets into like the whole Keno Scholesy, like you just go for everything all the time. Like, well, it's not that simple. We've got a final to prep for. So I've said it, you've said it, we've said it. Like, we need to be more aggressive in the final third. We need to be more quick. Amorim said it as well. There's not aggression. He said that the other day. No urgency, no aggression. Wingbacks are going to need to be up for it because they're going to have a lot of work to do. Which Dorgu, I like Dorgu. He's been out muscled a couple times. He's still young, but the wingbacks need to be on it. So Ahmad, you don't have to win a crunching tackle. You just have to stay on pace with your man if you're defending. And like Danny says, our midfield really has to be up for it too because we've got a lot of work to do. We're being sliced through right now like a hot knife through butter. It's just too easy to get the ball into our own third. Time and time, like against Chelsea, Caicedo is winning the ball just outside of his own box, and he's just carrying it all the way up the pitch. One pass, two passes, and they're already getting a chance on goal. We just can't do that. Spurs have done that to us as well, though, and they'll do it again if these players don't fix up on Wednesday. Danny says, I think Cass and Ugarte need to start. I mean, that's probably our best midfield.
Oh yeah.
You can play Bruno as a 10 on paper, right? But he can move around if he needs to. What were we saying?
No, we have to have that. And Gary's talking about the physicality in his next comment there. Like we need that. We need to have somebody go in there and bully a little bit.
Yeah, I love that about Ugarte. We need a little bit. He's like Alicia in midfield. Like just takes zero shit, gives zero fucks. Let's just do this. I'm up for it.
Yep.
So that's what we can expect from Spurs. That's how I think we really need to pay. Like we can soak up the pressure, but we need to get that ball. Even if our transitions start from deeper, we need to start them quicker.
Yes.
Take advantage of that space because the space isn't there forever. So, Gary, I don't mind a bit of that shithousery, which is why I'm a little more open to the Emi Martinez stuff, but I doubt that we'll be getting Emi Martinez anytime soon. But I just don't think he's as good as people say, but whatever. So big question marks over who's fit for this one for United. Yoro, Delit, Xerxes, Dallo, who knows? We did start strong on Friday against Chelsea. We didn't make any subs until the 69th minute, which is about 10, 15 minutes later than Amorim typically likes to make his changes. So trying to get more people some minutes. I asked Dylan to go through to come up with a predictor or his preferred starting 11. So you guys get your starting 11s in. I'm going to put Dylan's up on the screen and I'm going to have him explain it to what his thoughts processes were behind this. So go for it, Dylan.
Some of the comments were kind of calling this earlier with my idea on the fault line. Sorry, I'm trying to get like some of the light out of my screen here.
It's all right.
Anyway, I am 100% with some of the comments earlier. After that Chelsea display from Højlund, he can't start. Like if he was told he wasn't starting, like that was the worst thing he could have done. That display he put in there, like you don't go out there and throw a fit on the field. That's kind of what that looked like, or on the pitch. Sorry, but like that just hurt. Like just because I want Højlund to do well. I think there's a player that, man, he's just shooting himself in the foot with that. So I'll start up top just because I'm already talking about it. We're going to go false 9 with Mount in the false 9. I want Bruno to be on the right pinging balls, trying to get Mount on those crossing routes, or Garnacho coming in behind. Even Kasser or Ugarte, somewhere where we can ping those balls in to try to get those overlaps. Even Ahmad doing that. But I think that will work the best, especially with having Bruno in that creative fashion. Wingbacks are kind of self-explanatory. I mean, Dorgu's going to start left. Ahmad, we need to have Ahmad on the field. At this point, we can't not start him. If he can get down that channel, ping some balls in, get past defenders. Because I don't remember, did Ahmad play in the earlier games when we played against Tottenham?
I think he did again in that League Cup match, but I think it was that was a match where we just left it too late. We came back into it, but we just gave that match. If we would have had like another 5 minutes, I think maybe we would have equalized. But
because that one, if I remember, he was a game changer in that one. If he comes on and does well there, I can totally see like him being an X factor for this match. But yeah, my two wingbacks are going to be big. Dorgu, especially on the left there, is going to have to really watch for Brennan Johnson. Thank you, Gary. You did tell me he scored. Because we saw it with Pedro Neto on the weekend against Chelsea. He looked great locking him down on some points, and then some points he just got by him. And Johnson's fast. So they're both quick. I mean, it's hard to stop anyone without fouling them. Just
And this is what I tell people all the time when they're defending. Like, you don't have to always lunge in. You don't always take a tackle. Just
Yep.
stay with them.
Yes.
Keep them. Don't let them get goal side of you. Just stay with them. Force them wide, and then your teammates will catch up a little bit. But Bach says Ahmad needs to pass. Yeah, he does hold on to the ball a little too long sometimes.
Yeah, and Ahmad talking about that, where he found some good success, especially at the beginning here, was where he was driving towards that byline and crossing it back in. Hey, it's a final. Anything can happen. It hits an arm. We might get a penalty there.
Yeah.
Central mid or the midfielders I have there kind of self-explanatory. We've mentioned it already. Cass is class. Okay, I honestly, if we can get him going, get a header off him, or some sort of nice assist, that could also be part of the game changing aspect. Yeah. And Ugarte just needs to fuck shit up. That's his job today. That's going to be his job. When you got nothing else, dude, you don't need to score. You need to stay in that position, advance the ball, box to box, do your thing.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even try to look to score. That is not what you're going to do. Like, you are the Ji-Sung Park today. We're just having you just screw everything up.
We're here to fuck shit up.
Yeah. And then my back three, Maz has looked good on that right side. Yes, he gets a little caught off guard sometimes, but I think that's for who we have available. I think that's the best bet. Harry, self-explanatory as we have it. The only reason I'm starting Shaw is because I think Euro is going to be out.
Yeah.
And I want Euro to be there. I really think he would do better. But Shaw can get the start. He's working his way in. I don't trust him as much. I think the left side will be the weak side. And then that Spurs will look to exploit that. But he's going to have a match. He's going to have to step up because Harry stepped up. Maz has stepped up. It's time for Shaw to step up.
Yeah.
And Danny B, you're saying Euro instead of Shaw. I want that. I just don't think he's going to be fit. So that's my
Well, Usman says, looking at it player to player, it's good. Gary says, what I would have loved to have 3 Lung Park in his team. Oh man, Gary, we should have had you on the channel. Too bad you weren't here last summer when we did our. Or was that the summer when we did the all-time 11?
Yeah, that was last summer.
Yeah, that was a fun video.
Yeah.
So Danny's going with Euro instead of Shaw. I think if Euro is even halfway fit, he's going to start ahead of Shaw because a halfway fit Euro is better than a 100% fit Shaw.
Yeah.
Because right now Shaw's best quality is putting balls into the box.
Yeah.
But we don't really play with that unless it's like later on. If we're later on and we need a winner, count on Shaw to come on, count on McGuire to sit in that box, and count on Shaw to just spam crosses in there like he's Trent Alexander-Arnold. Like, that's all I'm going to see him do.
Yep.
He says, I'd rather Lindelof over Shaw. Lindelof had a good match the other day, to be fair. Gary says, I think they'll risk Euro. Yeah, if Euro, if De Ligt is even halfway fit, I think he's starting.
Hey, we could go surprise and Heaven might get the start.
Could. Yeah, you never know.
Because he played on Friday. So.
Yep, he definitely did. He looked good, too.
He did. He looked a little nervous to get going again, but once he settled in, he looked better. So.
Any final thoughts on your 11 before I show mine?
That front three with the press is going to be big.
Yeah.
Garnacho's got to give a shit. I know Mount's going to because we've seen. I mean, we're that one. I forget which match it was. But you and I were both like, Mount has come out to kill, and we're ahead. Like, you don't have to. You don't have to do that, dude.
Yeah.
But that's going to be big. We need our press to work. Honestly, we might get a goal. We can sneak an early goal if Tottenham kind of switch off a little bit, which they have a tendency to do it at times.
Yeah.
We can sneak a goal there, and Mount's got 2 in his last Europa League outing. Bruno's positive. That could be something to look for. Get one of those 2 on the score sheet early, or a mod.
Yeah, Gary's preaching the choir. Too bad we don't have Cheeto registered. Yeah, I mean, it'd be great just to have another option, right? But
yes.
All right, so that's Dylan's. Let me go through mine here. So very similar, just with a couple of tweaks. So I mean, in an ideal situation, I'd have an older striker that maybe Højlund can come on as a sub. We just don't have that. I tried to maybe find a way to start Højlund, but after the Chelsea match, I changed it because I was like, no, we're done here. Højlund's confidence is in the mud. And if he starts, I'm worried that we'll just see more of the same frustration performance that we've seen all season, and we're just missing sitters, missing these chances, and it's going to come back to bite us in the ass because it does, and it has. So with the space in behind, in my back of my mind, with the way that Garnacho was really getting into good situations against a similar system in Newcastle, I've swapped him with Mount in my system where you had him. I've got Garnacho kind of up there with a little bit of freedom to kind of get around onto things. Because if you look at the way he's been playing in some of those matches against those high lines, he does kind of run into a central spot. And I think if we can find him early, whether that's like saying like a ball from Casemiro, ball from Bruno, Casemiro likes a little dink over the top to find Bruno, to find the wing backs. And I think that we can exploit that as well. So I want Bruno and Mount in behind him to find his runs, but I need more than just him making the runs. I mean, he's got to put his chances away. He had several opportunities in recent weeks, and he's just not put them away. And that puts more pressure on the defense as well. So very similar, although I did start Euro because I think we will, and I think we need to. I don't care. Like, it didn't look like a serious injury, no crutches, no boot. He was in the gym, he's training. Like, I think this might be a case of Amorim maybe just keeping a little close to his chest. But I'm starting Euro, Maguire, and Mizraoui. And I got same midfield, same wingbacks as you. Again, just flipped around Mount and Garnacho because I think that I think Mount's going to be a little more physical in that midfield. And I think our 10s have to drop deep a lot to get involved. And I think I trust Mount to do that more than Garnacho. Because if Mount can drop deep, help win the ball, and you've got Garnacho ready off the shoulder of a defender, especially in our half, because Spurs play that high line. I think that's going to work really well for us, personally. So, Box says Højlund winner off the bench. I mean,
great.
In an ideal world, unfortunately, we do not live in that world, my friend. We live in this one, and this one
we do.
Although Højlund in Europe is different. Again, we're just different in Europe, so maybe that'll be enough. Maybe just being out of England, maybe because we're in Spain, it might be different. Gary says Garnacho and Bruno to pivot would be what we actually see. Yeah, I don't know. I go back and forth that now Højlund's going to start, but you never know. Usman says, I think it would be better for Mass up front than Mason up front than Garnacho because I think Garnacho doesn't score as much. And I think Mason can score more. Garnacho is more of a dribbler. Yeah, it could go either way. And again, starting on paper is very different. Like, it's very fluid. People can move around and stuff. So what were you saying?
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah. Usman says, I do agree. You're over Shaw. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I do too. I don't know. Euro just went down. That always concerns me when that happens on the pitch. So that's why I'm saying Shaw. I don't want it, but
yeah,
I could totally see it. Yeah.
And Danny, that's a big part of it. That's why I say that's fluid. You've got more movement in that final phase of attack could help. They play a pretty high line. They've got really good defenders. And so Gary says, I love how much bigger Maguire's head is on that display. Is it big?
Oh, yeah.
That's funny. It's fun. It's just this normal head. I don't know what to tell you. Fox says, what do you think of Neville's combined 11? He seems to overdo it. Honestly, I didn't see his combined 11, so I don't have any thoughts on it.
I heard him talk about it. It was a mostly Spurs team with Bruno basically thrown in.
Yeah, I mean, would any of us disagree to an extent? I mean, I thought he did that against, was it Chelsea? I don't remember, but yeah, Neville can be a little bit of a sky is falling kind of mentality sometimes. So what are you going to do? So that's your starting 11. That's my starting 11. Very, very similar. Just a couple of personnel differences in there. I'd rather risk a half-fit Euro, for instance, than anything, but it is what it is. Danny says he's a toolbox. That's funny. So now is the big question for everybody. Score prediction. We've looked at the road to the final. We've looked at the numbers. We've looked at the starting 11s. We've looked at the tactics, the team news. Get in your score predictions now. What do you think this is going to end up going to? Dylan, go for it.
So a little bit about, I'm just going to go with United mentality to kind of showcase this a little bit. Because of who they are, United are going to be put as the favorites for this match, and it's just because it's United. It's not based on anything else. I fully look at everything with the build up to this final that everybody else wants Spurs to win. They just hate us, except for maybe like Arsenal fans, like like the other side of North London. But that's gonna if we let that pressure gets to us, that's gonna cause problems.
Yeah.
My prediction. First thing I put on here is we're going to go a goal down. We leak goals. It's going to happen at some point. We're going to let something in.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll score first, but I get the feeling something's going to get let in. We can't let that wilt and destroy us like we have in the past. Europe, we've been better. We fought a lot harder. I think Premier League's kind of been on the back burner, which has been weird. Unfortunately. As much as I believe in I want United when the hope is there. My brain, being the pessimist that it is going to go Tottenham. I don't want to, but I just struggle to buy into some of the team when they go down. You can see them deflate, and it's so hard to get that out of their head. And I just get the feeling that's going to happen. I have 3-1 Spurs right now. I think Son is going to get one. I think Johnson will probably get one, and then one of the defenders will get some lucky one. But that's one. I really hope I'm wrong. But,
I mean, it's hard because the Europa League factor does play a role because we've seen in the Europa League that we are just different. These cup games, we've just been different. Now, whether or not the English team negates that, kind of cancels each other out. If it cancels each other out, then it's like playing footy in the snow. Like everyone's equal in that regard. Yeah. So, Gary. So Box says 1-0 United. Gary says 2-2 full time United on pens. Ugh. Does this go straight to pens or just go to extra time?
No, we do extra time.
Okay. Gary says I agree, but it's been different in the Europa when we go behind. I think we're more up for it. Interesting. So I think this is going to be 3-2 United.
Oh, please do that.
I'm saying 3-2 United, stoppage time, Harry Maguire winner.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Danny says we think we batter him 4-1. If we batter them 4-1, there's not enough mates in the world that are going to save Ange Postecoglou's job. You could tell him to shove that shit in his kangaroo pouch and send it off back to Australia. I'm done with that.
If we win 4-1, there are a bunch of kids at school that I need to give some shit to.
Dude, if there are kids at school who are Spurs fans, if they're first of all, I mean, have a talk with their parents next time it's parent-teacher conferences because that's a sin in itself. But you stand them up in front of the class and you shame them in front of everybody.
They're not, but they like to give me shit because they know I'm a United fan. Oh, United! Oh, they suck. I'm like, yeah, just keep going. Because then they wear their Arsenal shirt and it's like, how many Champions League do you have?
Just come in with the glasses on, the cigar, just thug life.
Yeah.
Danny says 3-1. Yeah. He's changing his mind now. Uh-oh. Box says, this is what we do, mate. Gary says, slab it to score a Rabona pen. I think if Harry Maguire tried to do a Rabona, he would tear an ACL. I just think he would. I don't think his legs are made for that.
No.
So I'm going 3-2.
Please.
You say 3-1 Spurs. Because
I hate myself for saying it, but
you should have told me that ahead of time. I would have not invited you on, Dylan.
What's worse is I got all this United gear on too, and I said that.
Yeah. You've got more importantly, you've got United versus everybody gear on, same as me. Boom, boom. 20% off the last day for it, you guys. Don't forget. Box says, Onana pen like David.
Hey, no, not like De Gea. We want to make it, damn it.
Yeah, go watch that What If episode. Remember I talked about that. So we've got the score predictions and all that. What are your thoughts on some of the reasons? I've seen some crazy opinions out there that there are United fans who don't want Champions League football next season. There are people who want us to lose the final because they want Amorim to be sacked. I've seen the arguments, right, for no Champions League, maybe more time between matches for training, a la Chelsea a couple of years ago. Remember that? Some people say we're not good enough for Champions League competition. It'll just be embarrassing. Maybe we don't have the squad to compete on all these tournaments. I've heard all the pros and cons. I see some sides. Do you have any thoughts on, not getting Champions League football? Does a win or a loss on Wednesday, does that change your mind on Amorim?
No. No,
No.
Amarin stays. Everything I've seen with him, like what he's doing, you can see the young players that are buying in. Ahmad's in, okay. Bruno's in, okay. Euro, you can see is fighting for that. Like the young guys are there; they want to be there. It's the older guys that are they kind of see the writing on the wall. Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way. I'm like and here's the other thing. I wrote this in my note. Yeah, missing Europe, we get to build more. We get time off. We can do this.
Yeah.
No. Champions League. When we're in Champions League, that builds that winning mentality. We have to build that back up.
Yeah.
You don't go into Champions League thinking, "Oh yeah, whatever happens." You go in thinking, "We're going to win this game because this is Europe. This is a big stage." We have to build that back up. We have let the standard slip too far.
Yeah.
For like like with the players and everything. And there are players that want to do well, but they're held back. But no, we get the right guys in there. We'll get that mentality. And Champions League will only help that.
And you never know who you draw in these
Yeah.
tournaments. I mean, I've said it many times. I do put the league above Champions League because you don't have to play everybody in Champions League to win it. You can get an easy run to the final and win or lose that final. It just depends. You can't, not every team is like Madrid and has to pay Chelsea and Liverpool and City and all these other teams to get to the final. But apparently City didn't lose that year. I don't know how they lost, but they're not the champions, whatever. I don't get the people who want us to lose because they want him to be sacked. I remember people saying that about Ollie too. It just doesn't make sense to me. Again, I feel like the only person in the world sometimes who just wants to win because it's a trophy and I want a trophy. Like I've not heard many people say that. It's a trophy. It's the Europa League. We're unbeaten in Europe. Why wouldn't you want to do that? It just doesn't make sense. There are Arsenal fans who still say that we would, like, United fans want their season this year. I'm like,
no, we don't.
What are you saying?
The other thing with that is that jump starts our rebuild too. We got money. Yep. We can say that with the players we bring. Hey, we got Champions League football. Yeah. We can sign the players, and you'll get the players that will fit Amarin's system.
Yeah,
we can like Lindelof's gone after a year. I'm leaving. Yeah, I get to go back to Denmark or the Netherlands.
There you go.
Johnny Evans is retiring. You get some of the older guys out. Johnny Evans, I would love to keep, by the way, just because it's nice to have him out. But get rid of some of those other guys. Get the players that are going to help bring some of the youth into that setup. I mean, that's going to change the whole mentality. So,
it gives you a little more breathing room. Revenue from the match day revenue is a big help. Mm-hmm. Planning on that is a big help. Like you're saying, it does do that. Like that's huge. And not only that, it means that Adidas won't pull some of their sponsorship money as well. So there is that. Plus, there's a chance we could get to go to a game next year again. So, or you have to go. But going Champions League and Premier League back to back is definitely easier than sitting there with nothing to do for a week. So
definitely.
Gary says, even if we lose, we still had a better season than Arsenal. Arsenal fans just remember when it used to be top four is a trophy, and now apparently second place is a trophy to Arsenal.
Yeah.
It's always bigger fish to fry. These dudes are freaking straight on pescatarian diet with all this bigger fish nonsense, man. It's messed up. Arsenal fans, jeez. Literally in our banter era, we've had 5 finals in the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. How many finals have they had in 5 years?
They had that FA Cup win in Amarin's first year, which was Emery's team.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
that was like 6 years ago.
Yeah, and that's it. Oh, and they won the that beginning of the season cup.
Oh, get out.
I don't even remember what it is now.
Get out. What are you doing? What are you, full Mourinho mode? You never go full Jose.
Yeah.
Bach says, I love a trophy, which is another European trophy. CL football, money in the Super Cup game versus Inter or PSG. Yeah.
Yep.
Gary says, 6 years with Arteta, 1 cup win. Pathetic. Yeah, should have hired more pickpockets. I've said it many times, Gary. You're still new. Like I've said it many times. Arsenal fans aren't ready for that conversation yet. By the way, they're just still in denial. It's still trust the process. You can change all the directors of football you want. You can get all the whiteboards out you want, all the pickpockets, all all the guy liner for Arteta you want to, and it's still not going to make a difference.
Hey, by the way, we fired our last manager. He got us to 3 finals and 2 cups. So
yeah, Ten Hag will tell you that. He probably wears a T-shirt that says that when he walks around.
On his way to Leverkusen.
Oh, is that where he's going?
I don't know. I'm just assuming.
So yeah, it's just I wanted your thought because I've seen a lot of those conversations being had, and I'm like, that's just weird. People are weird. Honestly, though, we have no choice but to win this. We have no choice but to beat Spurs. We have no choice but to lift this trophy. Now, I'm not I'm not saying that wipes away how shit we've been in the league. That's a whole separate conversation. But we have to win the Europa League. There's not even an or else. We have to do that.
Yes.
Winning it also shouldn't alter the expectations, though, for next year as well. On the other side of that coin, it shouldn't be like we won the Europa League. We should be challenging for top 4. We're not there yet. Top 4 is still going to be a ways off. If we get top 8 next season, if we get European football just by table position next season, I'll be shocked. But here's another. Go ahead.
I was going to say, but like you're saying, like we didn't see this with Ten Hag. We need to see improvement.
Yeah.
Like that was the big thing. Like Ten Hag had that great first season, and then like it just everything fell off. Like I feel like we're kind of seeing it with how some of the players play with Amorim, but next year's going to be the key.
These players are weak, though, man. Physically and mentally, these players are just weak. We need better players. That's just a big part of it. Box says Arsenal won that we beat Madrid Cup. That's their best match. That's literally their highlight of the season. If if any Arsenal fan orders the DVD, that's going to be like the whole second disc of the DVD. We beat Madrid. Yep, cool. What did you get for it? Nothing.
It's that second place medal.
Gary says Arsenal fans are pure banter. Yes, they are the gets that keep on getting, man. Let me tell you. Sahi, big up Sahi. It says we must win it. There's no choice. Gary says open heart surgery on this team, as Ragnick said. I can't talk about Ragnick. It'll make me sad. But big up, Gary. Big up. Here's a question. Are we the favorites or are we the underdogs?
Pundits are going to have us be the favorites.
Yeah, because that makes us look bad.
Yeah, and they're going to put all the pressure on.
We win, and it's like we should have. And if we lose, well, like you shouldn't have. Like it's we see that every time it's United, right?
Yeah, based on form, I would go with Spurs should be the favorite just because they've looked better. But they're going to say, "Oh, it's Europe, United. You have experience in Europe. Oh, it's just United." Yeah, pundits do whatever you can to make United lose. I don't really pay attention to like all the United bias, but just lately, everything I've seen has been, well, United are this and United are that. It's like either they're going to win handily and they should win. I can't believe we're having this conversation. Or no, they're terrible. Like the United's in the worst state. Like, guys,
I don't understand how they can say we're favorites if they spent the whole season slagging us off. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense at all. Ange has had 2 years with this team. He's got his system in place. Amorim has been here half a season. No preseason, no signings.
Yeah,
and like both have injuries. Let's have it right. We both have injuries. So it's just I wouldn't call us favorites personally. Just again the way we've played against Spurs and the way we've looked like against English sides. But again, it's European competition. It's a whole different animal. So maybe we just need to move the new stadium out of Manchester for us to have a chance. We seem to play better when we're not in Manchester. You guys are saying we're favorites, huh? Interesting. I just don't feel like we are favorites. I feel like just the way we're playing, the form and stuff. Some players are in good form, but overall our season does not look good. Usman says, think we're favorites because Spurs have no trophies. Yeah, they don't, but I mean, it's totally different Spurs side than like when people say like, oh, we've beaten like Barcelona. Well, that was like 3 years ago. Totally different Barcelona side as well. So it's interesting stuff. Like I never understood why pundits and the media go through these like stats from past teams. Like it's different managers, it's different rules, even in the game. Like it's so weird. Gary says the anti-United brigade. I mean, I'm not anti-United. I still think that we're definitely not the favorites. I think if you look at both teams and stuff right now, I think it's probably split. I think for me, it would be split personally. Danny says, I really can't imagine Spurs beating us 4 times in one season. And that's the thing I said in the preview like a while ago, like you have to think just law of probability. We were going to get a win at some point, even accidentally we show up and get a win. Like you can't, it's not like Leicester, everybody gets a free hit where we play Leicester. How many times this season?
4.
Like
we won all 4 times.
We can't do that. Like surely like we can't give Spurs 2 doubles over us, right? That's not okay. Gary says Ange ball nosedive off a cliff. I said it would last season when everybody was wanking over it. I said he's going to get found out. It's great to have a new manager bounce. It's just, the same thing happened to De Zerbi at Brighton. It's what happens. And that's why managers have to constantly keep, evolving and learning and strengthening and stuff. And Fergie did it. You have to do it.
So. He did it several different times.
Yeah. And so, some say that it's written in the stars, as we've had in the past a Portuguese manager come in and win the Europa League after replacing a Dutch manager who won the FA Cup. So Coincidence? I don't know. City also went trophyless that season as well. So I'm just saying that basically means we're going to win this one. That's how football works. It's science, right? It's science.
Yes.
Don't crush my dreams. Regardless, I think the best thing right now that we can all do as fans, right? Underdogs this, stats that, league form this, who's crap, Hoyland this, that or that, Hoyland this, Hoyland that, Hoyland. Um,
I'm sorry,
however,
did you say Hoyland? I don't know.
whoever you think right now, I think the best thing that we can do as fans is back the team, back the manager, get gassed up. That's only going to help. I don't care who you think is crap or who's poor. Back them, and then the chips will fall where they fall. The best thing we can do is back them and hope for a win. Whether it's players who have not been great, just you want them to play well, like back them and things. Saeed says our heritage will let us win. I hope that's what we're hoping. Gary says anti-United like talk sport and the gutter press. I totally get where you're coming from. You and I are like this, Gary. You know, it's your first day, but I've regularly spoken how I call into Sirius XM on a regular basis to basically make Rodney Marsh and Tommy Smith look like idiots because they have no clue what they're talking about. I don't read or watch ESPN if I can help it because they're absolute trash. Talksport is rubbish, just complete rubbish. Sky Sports is just desperate. How many times have you seen Sky Sports Studio measure a free kick distance? Like that's embarrassing. A little effort to hide it, the bias would be appreciated, but they just don't care. Gary says, I need this win on Wednesday. I really, really need it. The season has been brooding.
Gary, I'm with you on that one.
Marsh is as well. I mean, you know, it is what it is. I've made them look like mugs a couple times, so I will take that as a W. But I did get the twinkle, twinkle, little star a couple times from them, though, because I've made some. They do that when you make good points and they like what you say. They give you a twinkle, twinkle, little star song. So I'm not too proud to admit that. So that's pretty much our preview. Like I said, it was a long one. Dylan, final thoughts on everything.
I really want my prediction to be wrong.
I do too. And if it's right, just hide in your classroom and don't come out all summer. Because if we lose 3-1, Dylan, I don't know if we can be friends anymore.
Yeah, I might not. I don't know what I'll do. I don't think I can show my face.
Yep.
Basically anywhere.
I'm blaming it on you. You know, if we do.
Oh God. I'll come on the channel. Like I am so sorry, guys.
Yeah, you have to take off. You have to return the hoodie. No money back for it. Saeed says, "Big up, Dylan." Though, yes, you guys, that is it. I love that you guys came. Gary, big up, Gary, brand new to the channel. I love it. Gary says Steve Nickel is the worst United. Steve Nickel is absolute correct. Craig Burley is up there as well. I can't stand Craig Burley. It's and Mark Ogden, when we won against Leicester, Dylan, you and I were at that match when we got that kind of offside winner.
Yeah.
Immediately cut to Mark Ogden at Old Trafford, and his face, you could tell he just did not.
He was good.
He had all this other stuff prepared to say, and it was like,
oh yeah,
you looked like Anthony coming off the bench last season, man. It just straight up mad. But I love that you guys are all here. I love getting involved in the chat. Thank you for jumping on this live stream, this preview of the final. I hope that we can be back here on Thursday talking about a win. I hope that I might have to take Thursday off if we win or lose. But again, you guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Dylan, too, for taking time out, man. I know your best schedule is busy. I know you have a lot going on, man. I freaking love it that you're here, man. I love just getting to know you over the last couple of years, man, and just hanging out, man. And I do appreciate and do respect everything you say and everything you have to offer and your perspective and your opinion. So please, thank you very much for doing this again. Anything final before I give everyone the spiel?
Thank Sean once again. Thanks for having me on here. I always appreciate that you do, and that you let me have my rants sometimes. It's fun to talk about this, get to know everybody on the channel, and just great to be able to do this. So I really appreciate you doing that. Everybody on the channel, come on, let's go get this thing on Wednesday.
Come on, United
guys! If you want a good hoodie or any other good gear, man, I'm telling you. Great stuff.
Today is the last day for 20% off. The link is pinned in the comment. You can get the green and gold classic. You can get the class of 92. There's tons of designs out there. 20% off right now. Please like the video if you haven't yet. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are on the road to 3K. Check the memberships. Learn how you can get more involved, like Gary jumping in. Go check out GoGoalShop to get $5 off. And again, just thank you guys. Big up United. Come on, you guys. Keep that red flag flying high, and we will see you guys. Lads, it's Tottenham. That's all I got to say. Get up. Take it easy, guys. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you, Dylan.
Have a good one, everybody.